When Elon Musk stood alone in his office holding an old photograph, tears rolled down his face. The richest man in the world was crying, not because he lost money, not because a rocket exploded, but because of a woman in that faded picture, a woman named Lilian. "I kept my promise, Lily," he whispered. "I finally kept it." But here's what nobody knew. This wasn't a love story about romance. This was something deeper, something that would explain everything about why Elon Musk does what he does, why he builds rockets to Mars, why he makes electric cars, why he works 100 hours every week. Because 37 years ago, a poor teacher in South Africa made a choice so shocking, so powerful that when you hear what she did, you won't believe it. She gave up something precious, something irreplaceable. All for a 12-year-old boy who everyone else ignored. That boy was Elon Musk, and what Lilian sacrificed for him. It will break your heart and inspire your soul at the same time. You see, Elon couldn't save someone very important to Lilian, a 3-year-old girl who needed his help. He tried everything. He gave every penny he had, but it wasn't enough. She died anyway, and Elon carried that guilt for 37 years. Until 2023, that's when he received an email. An email that changed everything he thought he knew. An email that revealed a secret Lilian had kept hidden her entire life. A secret about what she gave up so Elon could have a future. When Elon learned the truth, he broke down completely. Because Lilian hadn't just believed in him. She had literally sacrificed her life for him. And she did it without ever telling him, without ever asking for anything in return. This is the true story of how one woman's 600 rands, about $40, became billions of dollars of impact. How one teacher's belief in a bullied boy changed millions of lives. How a promise made in a library in 1986 led to rockets flying to Mars. This is the most beautiful love story you will see today. Not about romance, but about sacrifice, about belief, about a promise that changed the world. Watch this entire video to discover what Lilian sacrificed, why Elon carries her photograph everywhere, and how her legacy is still saving lives right now today at this very moment. Because by the end of this story, you'll understand something powerful, something that might change your own life. You'll understand that the greatest gift you can give another person isn't money. It's belief, real, sacrificial, transformative belief. And you'll meet the woman who proved it, the woman behind Elon Musk's success, the woman who changed everything. Her name was Lilian Ndlovu, and this is her story. It all began with a lonely boy, a kind woman, and a tragedy that would change everything. The office was quiet, too quiet for a place that built spaceships. Elon Musk stood alone in his corner office at SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. Outside his window, the sun was setting over Los Angeles. The orange light painted long shadows across his desk. In his hand, he held an old photograph. The edges were worn, the colors had faded to soft yellows and browns, but the face in the picture was still clear. A woman smiled back at him. She had kind eyes that crinkled at the corners. Her smile was gentle and warm. She wore a simple blue dress. Behind her, you could see the blurry outline of books on shelves. Elon's eyes were wet. A single tear rolled down his cheek. This was strange. The world knew Elon Musk as many things: a billionaire, an inventor, the man who wanted to go to Mars, the CEO who worked 100 hours each week, the person who tweeted jokes and started arguments online. But the world rarely saw him cry. "I kept my promise, Lily," he whispered to the photograph. His voice cracked. "I finally kept it." He sat down heavily in his chair. The leather creaked under his weight. On his desk sat 3 computer screens. All of them were dark right now. Beside them was a small leather notebook. It looked even older than the photograph. The cover was cracked and worn smooth from years of touching. Elon set down the photograph carefully. He picked up the notebook with both hands like it was made of glass, like it might break if he wasn't gentle. He didn't open it. He didn't need to. He had read the words inside 1,000 times, maybe 10,000 times. He knew every page by heart. Instead, he just held it close to his chest. His eyes closed. More tears came. "You were right about everything," he said to the empty room. "You were right about me. You were right about what I could do. I wish you could see it. I wish you were here." The office stayed quiet. No one answered. Outside, workers were finishing their day. Engineers walked to their cars in the parking lot. Someone laughed at a joke. Normal sounds of normal people doing normal things. But inside this office, nothing felt normal. Elon opened his eyes. He looked at the photograph again. The woman in the picture, Lily, he called her, though her real name was Lilian, seemed to look back at him. Even through the faded colors, even across all the years, her eyes still held that same kindness, that same belief. She had believed in him when no one else did, when he was just a small, scared boy who got beaten up at school, when he was nobody, when he was nothing. She had believed he would change the world. And now, 36 years later, he was trying to prove her right. Elon set the notebook back on his desk. He reached for his laptop and opened it. The screen glowed bright in the darkening office. He typed in his password. His hands shook slightly. He opened his email. His fingers hovered over the keyboard for a moment. Then he began to type. The subject line read, "Project Lilian Final Phase Complete." He didn't write much in the body of the email, just a few lines. "Team, it's done. The last center opens tomorrow in Cape Town. Full funding secured for the next 50 years. We did it. She would be proud. E." He attached several documents, financial reports, building plans, medical statistics, lists of names, thousands of names, children who were alive because of what this project had done. His finger moved to the send button. He paused. Was this really enough? Could anything ever be enough? Elon thought back to that day in the library. He was 12 years old, small for his age, bruised and scared. She had found him and stayed with him. She had read to him about space and rockets and impossible dreams. She had told him he was special. No one had ever told him that before. "It has to be enough," he said out loud. "It has to be." He clicked send. The email whooshed away into the internet. In seconds, it would reach his team in South Africa. Tomorrow, they would cut the ribbon on the final medical center. The 10th one. Each one offered free heart surgery to children who couldn't afford it, children who would die without it, children like Tandia. The name still hurt even after all these years. Little Tandia with her big eyes and her weak heart. She had been only 3 years old, Lilian's daughter. Girl Elon had tried to save with $500 from selling his first computer game. It hadn't been enough, not even close. Tandia had died anyway. Elon had been just a boy, powerless, broke, unable to help. That feeling, that horrible, crushing feeling of not being able to save someone who mattered had never left him. Not when he sold his first company. Not when he became a millionaire. Not when he became a billionaire. Not when he sent rockets to space. It was always there. A weight on his chest, a promise unkept, until now. Elon stood up. He walked to the window. The sun had set completely. The sky was dark purple, fading to black. Stars were starting to appear. Not many Lowe's angels had too much light pollution, but a few brave stars pushed through the glow. He thought about Mars, about his dream of making humanity a multi-planet species. People thought that was his biggest dream, his craziest idea. They didn't know the truth. Mars wasn't his biggest dream. Mars was just part of the promise he made to Lilian in a school library in Pretoria, South Africa in 1988. The promise he had carried with him every single day since then, through Canada, through university, through every company, every failure, every success. The promise that had shaped everything he had become. "Make the world better," she had said. "Use your brilliant mind to help people. Promise me." Promised. A 12-year-old boy making a promise to a kind teacher who believed in him. And now, at 53 years old, standing in an office at the top of the world, he had finally kept that promise. The tears came again. He didn't try to stop them this time. He picked up his phone. He scrolled through his photos until he found a recent one. It showed a building in Cape Town. Modern, clean, beautiful. A sign over the entrance read, "Lilian Ndlovu Pediatric Cardiac Center." Tomorrow that building would open its doors. Tomorrow the first children would walk through. Tomorrow lives would be saved. Tomorrow Tandia's death would mean something. Elon looked at the photograph on his desk one more time. "I kept my promise, Lily," he said again. "But you kept yours first. You promised I could change the world. You believed in me when I was nothing, when I was nobody. You saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself." He picked up the old leather notebook. He opened it to the first page. The handwriting was neat and careful. It read, "For Elon, who will change the world, remember your promise, Lilian." Below that, in his own messy handwriting from years ago, he had written, "I promise, I will never forget, I will make you proud. Elon, age 12. He had kept that promise through everything, through the impossible moments, through the times when everyone said he would fail, through bankruptcy, through divorce, through public mockery, through every dark night when giving up seemed easier. He had kept his promise to Lily. But who was Lily? Why did she matter so much? What promise had a 12-year-old boy made that would shape the next 40 years of his life? That story, the real story behind Elon Musk, began a long time ago, in a different country. Different world. It began with a lonely boy, a kind woman, and a tragedy that would change everything. Pretoria, South Africa, March 1986. 12-year-old Elon Musk walked through the halls of Bryanston High School with his head down. He carried his books close to his chest like a shield. His eyes watched the floor. He counted the tiles as he walked. 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting helped. When he counted, he could ignore the whispers. He could pretend he didn't hear the other kids laughing at him. "There's the weird kid," someone said. "Space boy," another voice called out. "Hey, space boy, when are you flying to Mars?" More laughter, always more laughter. Elon kept walking, keep moving, don't look up, don't make eye contact, get to class. That was the rule that kept him safe. Usually, but not today. "Hey, Musk," a hand grabbed his shoulder and spun him around. Elon stumbled. His books fell to the floor with a loud crash. Papers scattered everywhere. 3 boys stood in front of him. Marcus, Johan, and Pieter. They were all bigger than Elon. Everyone was bigger than Elon. At 12, he was small and thin. His arms looked like sticks. His clothes hung loose on his body. "Where do you think you're going?" Marcus asked. He was the leader, the biggest one. He had mean eyes and a cruel smile. "To class," Elon said quietly. His voice shook. He hated that it shook. He wanted to sound brave, but fear made his voice small. "To class," Johan repeated in a high, mocking voice. "Did you hear that? He's going to class. What a good little boy." The other students in the hall kept walking. No one stopped. No one helped. They never did. Helping Elon meant becoming a target too. Everyone knew that. "Leave me alone," Elon said. He bent down to pick up his books. That was a mistake. Marcus's foot came up fast. It connected with Elon's stomach. Hard, the air rushed out of Elon's lungs. Pain exploded in his belly. He fell sideways, gasping. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't think. There was only pain. "Oops," Marcus said. "Sorry. My foot slipped." The 3 boys laughed. Elon tried to stand up. His legs wobbled. His stomach hurt so much. Tears filled his eyes. He blinked them away. "Don't cry. Don't let them see you cry." That only made it worse. "What's wrong, space boy?" Pieter asked. "Going to cry, going to run home to mommy." "He doesn't have a mommy anymore," Johan said. "His parents got divorced. Nobody wants him." That hurt worse than the kick because it felt true. After his parents split up, Elon lived with his father Errol, but his father wasn't kind. His father was cold and angry. Home didn't feel like home anymore. It felt like another place where he didn't belong. Elon finally got his books gathered. He stood up slowly. Everything hurt. His stomach, his pride, his heart. "Next time, watch where you're going," Marcus said. He shoved Elon hard. Elon stumbled backward. His foot caught on something. He lost his balance. Behind him was the concrete staircase. 15 steps leading down to the lower floor. Hard gray concrete, no carpet, no cushion. Elon felt himself falling backward. Time seemed to slow down. He saw the ceiling. He saw the shocked faces of the 3 boys. He saw other students turning to look. Then his back hit the stairs. Pain everywhere. His head bounced off a step. His shoulder crashed into the edge. His hip. His leg. Each step was a new explosion of hurt. He tumbled down, down, down. His body twisted. His arms flailed. He couldn't stop. He couldn't catch himself. Finally, he reached the bottom. He lay there in a crumpled heap. The world spun. Colors blurred together. Voices sounded far away like he was underwater. Someone screamed. Footsteps ran toward him. Many footsteps, fast and urgent. "Oh my God. Is he dead? Someone get the nurse. Don't move him." Elon tried to open his eyes. Everything was fuzzy. A face appeared above him. He couldn't see it clearly. The world kept spinning. "Child, can you hear me?" a woman's voice asked. It was soft, gentle, different from the other voices. "Stay still, don't try to move. Help is coming." A hand touched his forehead. Warm fingers, careful and kind. "You're going to be okay," the voice said. "I've got you, you're safe now." Elon wanted to believe her. He wanted to feel safe. But the pain was so big and the darkness was coming. Black spots filled his vision. "Stay with me," the voice said. "What's your name?" "Elon," he whispered. "Elon, that's a beautiful name. I'm Lilian. I work here at the school. I'm not going to leave you, Elon, I promise." Those words, "I promise," were the last things he heard before the darkness swallowed him completely. When Elon woke up, he was in the nurse's office. His head throbbed. His whole body ached. white bandages wrapped around his left arm. An ice pack sat on his forehead. "Easy," a voice said. "Don't sit up too fast." Elon turned his head slowly. The movement made everything hurt. A woman sat in a chair beside the bed. She had dark brown skin and kind eyes. She wore a simple dress and her hair was pulled back neatly. She held a book in her hands. "You're awake," she said with a smile. "Good, you had us worried, Elon." "How long?" His throat felt dry. "About an hour. The nurse said you have a concussion. Your arm is badly bruised but not broken. You're very lucky. That was a bad fall." Fall, the word felt wrong. It wasn't a fall, it was a push, but Elon didn't correct her. What was the point? No one had seen Marcus push him, or if they had seen, they wouldn't tell. They never did. "I'm Lilian," the woman said. "Lilian Ndilavu. I'm a teacher's aide here. I found you at the bottom of the stairs." "Thank you," Elon whispered. "The nurse had to step out for a moment. She asked me to sit with you." Lilian held up the book in her hands. "I was reading while you slept. Do you like books, Elon?" Elon nodded. Books were his favorite thing. Books didn't laugh at him. Books didn't push him downstairs. Books took him to other worlds, better worlds. "What kind of books do you like?" Lilian asked. "Science fiction," Elon said. "And science, real science, about space and computers and inventions." Lilian's smile grew bigger. "Space? Really? That's wonderful. Did you know that right now, Voyager 2 is out past Uranus? It's taking pictures of the planet and sending them back to Earth." Elon's eyes widened. He sat up a little, forgetting about the pain for a moment. "You know about Voyager 2? "Of course," Lilian said. "Space exploration is one of humanity's greatest achievements. What do you want to be when you grow up, Elon?" No one had asked him that in a long time. When he told other kids about his dreams, they laughed. When he told his father, Errol said he was being stupid and unrealistic. But something about Lilian felt different. Her eyes were interested, really interested, like she actually wanted to know. "I want to build rockets," Elon said quietly. "I want to go to space, maybe even to Mars, and I want to make electric cars, cars that don't pollute, and I want to make computers that can think." He waited for the laugh, for the eye roll, for the "that's impossible" or "stop dreaming." It didn't come. Instead, Lilian leaned forward. Her eyes were bright. "Do you know what I think, Elon?" "What?" "I think you're going to do all of those things, and more." Elon stared at her. "Really? Really? Do you know why?" He shook his head. "Because you dream big dreams, and the world needs people who dream big dreams. Most people dream small. They dream about what's easy, what's safe. But the people who change the world, they dream about impossible things, and then they make those impossible things real." Elon felt something strange in his chest, something warm, something he hadn't felt in a long time, hope. "But I'm just a kid," he said. "I'm small, I'm weak. Everyone picks on me." Lilian reached out and took his hand. Her hand was warm and soft. "You know what I see when I look at you, Elon? I don't see a small, weak boy. I see a brilliant mind. I see determination. I see someone special. One day you'll do something that changes everything. And when you do, promise me you'll remember where you came from." "Remember where I came from," Elon repeated. "Yes, remember this place. Remember this moment. Remember that you were once a boy who got hurt, who felt small, who felt alone. When you become powerful, and you will, remember what it feels like to be powerless. Promise me that, Elon." The word promise hung in the air between them. Elon looked into Lilian's kind eyes. He didn't understand everything she was saying. He was only 12, but he understood that this woman believed in him, really believed in him, not just saying nice words. She meant it. "I promise," Elon said. Lilian smiled. She squeezed his hand gently. Then she picked up the book she had been reading. "Would you like me to read to you while we wait for the nurse? It's about the Apollo moon missions. How they built the rockets, how they trained the astronauts, how they did the impossible." "Yes, please," Elon said, and so Lilian read. Her voice was calm and steady. She read about rockets and engineers and people who dared to dream. She read about problems that seemed unsolvable, and about the brave people who solved them anyway. Elon listened to every word. The pain in his body started to fade, not because it hurt less, but because his mind was somewhere else. His mind was in space, building rockets, making the impossible real. He didn't know it then, but this moment, lying in a nurse's office, listening to a kind woman read about impossible dreams, would change his entire life. This was the moment when Elon Musk stopped being just a lonely, bullied boy. This was the moment when he started becoming the man who would change the world. And it all began with Lilian. After that day on the stairs, everything changed for Elon. Not the bullying, that stayed the same. Marcus and his friends still pushed him around. Other kids still called him names. That part of his life didn't get better. But now he had something they couldn't take away. He had a friend. It started small. The day after the fall, Elon went to the library during lunch. He always ate lunch in the library. The cafeteria was too dangerous. Too many bullies, too many ways to get hurt. The library was safer, quiet, full of books and empty tables. Elon sat in his usual corner with a sandwich his father had made. The sandwich was dry. Just bread and cheese. His father wasn't good at making food, but Elon didn't complain. At least he had something to eat. He pulled out a book about computers. He was teaching himself to code. Programming made sense to him. It had rules, logic. If you did A, then B would happen, not like people. People were confusing. People hurt you for no reason. May I sit here? Elon looked up. Lilian stood beside his table. She held a paper bag, her own lunch, and a book. You want to sit with me? Elon asked. His voice was surprised. If that's okay with you. Yes, that's okay. Lilian sat down across from him. She opened her lunch bag and pulled out a sandwich and an apple. What are you reading? Elon showed her the book. It's about basic programming. That's a computer language. I'm learning how to write code. At 12 years old, Lilian's eyes widened. That's incredible, Elon. It's not that hard, Elon said, but inside he felt proud. Someone thought he was incredible. Can you show me? Lilian asked. For the next 30 minutes, Elon explained computer programming to Lilian. He drew diagrams on notebook paper. He explained loops and variables and functions. He talked faster than usual. His hands moved as he spoke. His eyes were bright. Lilian listened to every word. She asked questions, good questions, smart questions. She didn't pretend to understand when she didn't, but she really tried to learn. When the lunch bell rang, Elon felt disappointed. The time had gone by too fast. Same time tomorrow, Lilian asked as she gathered her things. Really? Really? I want to hear more about computers. And I have some books I think you'd like, about space exploration. Elon's heart felt light. Okay, yes, tomorrow. That's how it started. One lunch in the library, then another, then another. Soon it became their routine. Every day, Monday through Friday, Elon and Lilian met in the library. They sat at the same table in the back corner, away from the main desk, away from where other people could see them easily. They had to be careful. South Africa in 1986 was a dangerous place. The government had laws called apartheid. These laws separated people by the color of their skin. White people, black people, colored people, Indian people. Everyone had different rules. Different schools, different neighborhoods, different lives. Lilian was black, Elon was white. The law said they shouldn't be friends. The law said black people were less important than white people. The law said they should stay separate, but Elon didn't care about the law, and neither did Lilian. Still, they were careful. If the wrong person saw them, if the wrong person complained, Lilian could lose her job, or worse. So they kept their friendship quiet. Secret, just two people sharing lunch in a library. Just a teacher's aide helping a student with his studies. Nothing suspicious, nothing that broke the rules. At least, that's what it looked like from the outside. But it was so much more than that. Lilian brought Elon books. Books about inventors like Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla. Books about scientists like Albert Einstein and Marie Curie. Books about explorers who went to Antarctica and climbed Mount Everest. Books about people who did impossible things. These people changed the world, Lilian told him. They started with nothing. Some were poor, some were sick, some were told they would never succeed. But they didn't listen. They believed in themselves. They worked hard, and they changed everything. Like me? Elon asked. Exactly like you. Elon read every book Lilian gave him. He read them during class when he should have been paying attention. He read them at home when his father thought he was sleeping. He read them over and over until the pages were worn. The books gave him hope. If Thomas Edison could try 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb, then Elon could survive being bullied. If Marie Curie could become a scientist when women weren't allowed to be scientists, then Elon could build rockets someday. The books taught him something important. Being different wasn't bad. Being different was necessary. All the people who changed the world were different. They were weird. They didn't fit in. They thought strange thoughts and dreamed impossible dreams, just like Elon. But Elon didn't just learn from the books. He learned from Lilian too. She told him about her life, about growing up in a township outside Pretoria, about how she loved school but couldn't go to university. Black people weren't allowed at most universities. The few black universities were far away and expensive. "I wanted to be an engineer," Lilian said one day in October 1986. They were eating lunch. Rain tapped against the library windows. "I wanted to design buildings, bridges, important things, but there was no path for someone like me." "That's not fair," Elon said. He felt angry. Lilian was smart, really smart, smarter than most of his teachers. Why couldn't she be an engineer? "No, it's not fair," Lilian agreed. "But unfair things happen every day, Elon. The question is, what do we do about unfair things? Do we accept them? Or do we fight to change them?" "Change them," Elon said immediately. Lilian smiled. "Good answer. That's why you're going to do great things. You see unfairness and you want to fix it. Hold onto that feeling. Let it drive you." As the months passed, Elon learned more about Lilian's life. She was married to a man named David. David worked at a factory that made car parts. He worked long hours for little pay. They lived in a small house with one bedroom, and they had a daughter. Her name was Tandu. She was 3 years old. "Tandu means beloved one in Zulu," Lilian explained. "She's our everything, our whole world." Lilian's eyes glowed when she talked about Tandu. She described her daughter's laugh, how she loved to sing, how she asked a million questions about everything, how she wanted to touch every flower and chase every butterfly. "She sounds amazing," Elon said. "She is." But then Lilian's smile faded. Something sad crossed her face. "What's wrong?" Elon asked. Lilian was quiet for a moment. She looked at her hands. "Tandu is sick. She has a problem with her heart. It doesn't work the way it should. The doctors say she needs surgery. Special surgery, expensive surgery. Can't the hospital help her?" Lilian shook her head. "We're black, Elon. The hospitals for black people don't have the equipment for this kind of surgery. The white hospitals that do have it, they don't treat black children. Or if they do, it costs money we don't have." "How much money?" "Thousands of rands. More than David and I make in a year. More than we could ever save." Elon felt a horrible tightness in his chest. But she'll be okay, right? The doctors can do something." "We're trying, we're hoping, we're praying." Lilian's voice was thick with emotion. "But hope doesn't pay for surgery. Prayer doesn't fix hearts. Money does, and we don't have money." Elon wanted to help. He wanted to fix this problem, but he was just a kid. He had no money, no power, no way to save Tandu. The feeling of helplessness was awful. It sat in his stomach like a rock. "I'm sorry," he said. It felt like weak words, useless words. "It's not your fault, Elon." Lilian reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "You're a good boy, a kind boy. That's rare. Don't ever lose that kindness. Promise me." There was that word again, promise. "I promise," Elon said, but inside he made another promise, a secret promise to himself. Someday, when he was older, when he had money and power, he would help people like Tandu. He would make sure no child died because their parents couldn't pay for surgery. He didn't know how, he didn't know when, but he would do it. He had to. The months went by. Fall turned to winter. In South Africa, winter meant June and July. It didn't snow in Pretoria, but the mornings were cold. Elon kept meeting Lilian in the library. Their friendship grew stronger. She was the only person he could really talk to, the only person who understood him. He told her about his dreams, about wanting to leave South Africa, about moving to America where opportunities were bigger, about starting companies, building rockets, changing the world. "You will," Lilian always said. "I believe in you, Elon. When everyone else doubts you, remember that I believed in you first." Elon was learning to code better. He spent hours on his computer at home. His father had bought him a Commodore VIC-20. It wasn't a great computer, but it was enough. Elon learned everything the instruction manual could teach him. Then he taught himself more. He was building a game, a space game. You controlled a spaceship and had to destroy alien vessels. It wasn't fancy, just simple graphics and basic gameplay. But it was his. He had created it from nothing. Just his mind and some code. "It's brilliant," Lilian said when he showed her the code on paper. The library didn't have computers. He had to explain how it worked just by showing her the programming. "You should sell it." Sell it? Elon hadn't thought about that. Yes, there are magazines that buy games from programmers. I've seen advertisements. You could make money, Elon. Money, the word sparked something in Elon's mind. With money, he could help Tandio. Even a little bit of money was better than nothing. I'll try, Elon said. I'll finish the game and send it to a magazine. Good, Lilian said. I'm proud of you. Those words, proud of you, made Elon's chest feel warm. His father never said things like that. His mother was far away in Canada. No one else cared about what he did, but Lilian was proud of him, and that mattered more than anything. By May 1987, Elon had finished his game. He called it Blastar. He wrote the code neatly and sent it to a computer magazine called PC and Office Technology. Then he waited and waited and waited. Weeks went by. He heard nothing. Maybe they didn't like it. Maybe they threw it away. Maybe it wasn't good enough. Then on a Tuesday in June, a letter came to his house, an official letter from the magazine. Elon's hands shook as he opened it. Dear Elon, it read, we would like to purchase your game Blastar for publication in our magazine. We will pay you 500 rands. Please sign the attached form and return it to us. 500 rands. Elon ran to his father. Look, they want to buy my game. They're paying me 500 rands. His father glanced at the letter. Not bad. You can save it for university. But Elon had other plans. The next day at lunch, he found Lilian in the library. His heart was pounding. He had the check in his pocket. The magazine had sent it quickly after he signed the form. Lily, he said. He had started calling her Lily. It felt more friendly, more personal. She didn't mind. I need to tell you something. What is it? Elon pulled out the check. He pushed it across the table to her. Lilian looked at it. Her eyes went wide. Elon, this is 500 rands. What? It's from my game. The magazine bought it, and I want you to have it for Tandio for her surgery. Elon, no, I can't take this. Please? Elon's voice cracked. I want to help. I know it's not enough for the whole surgery, but it's something. It can pay for medicine or doctor visits or something. Please take it. Tears filled Lilian's eyes. She stared at the check, then at Elon, then back at the check. You would do this. Give me everything you earned. Tandio needs it more than I do. Lilian stood up. She came around the table. She pulled Elon into a tight hug. She was crying now, really crying. Her shoulders shook. You have the most beautiful heart I've ever known, she whispered. Whatever happens, you must promise me something. Use your brilliant mind to help people. Make the world better. Will you promise? Through his own tears, Elon promised. I promise, Lily, I promise. Lilian took the check. She held it like it was made of gold. Thank you, Elon, thank you. You've given us hope. That's the most precious gift of all. Elon felt good, really good, better than he'd felt in years. He couldn't save Tandio alone, but he had helped. He had done something that had to count for something, right? Summer came to South Africa, December 1987. The days were hot and bright. School let out for the long summer holiday. Most kids were excited, beach trips, swimming pools, freedom from homework. But Elon felt anxious. Summer break meant no school. No school meant no library. No library meant no lunches with Lilian. He wouldn't see her for 6 weeks. On the last day of school before break, Lilian met him in the library one final time. I'll miss our talks, she said. She looked tired. Dark circles sat under her eyes. She hadn't been sleeping well. How is Tandio? Elon asked. Lilian's smile was sad. The money you gave us helped. We bought her medicine. It makes her more comfortable. The doctors say it's helping her heart work a little better. But what? It's not a cure, Elon. It's just buying time. She still needs surgery, real surgery, and we still can't afford it. Elon's stomach twisted. 500 rands hadn't been enough. He had really hoped that his money would fix everything, but hope wasn't the same as reality. How much more do you need? He asked. Thousands more, maybe 8,000 rands, maybe 10,000. It depends on which hospital, which doctor, but it's more than we can ever get. Lilian reached out and touched Elon's hand. You did something wonderful, Elon. You gave us hope. You showed Tandio that people care about her. That's not nothing, that's everything. But it didn't feel like everything to Elon. It felt like failure. I'll find more money, Elon said. I'll make another game, a better game. I'll sell it for more money. Elon, I can do it, Lily. I know I can, just give me time. Lilian's eyes were wet. You're 12 years old. This isn't your responsibility. You've already done more than anyone could ask. But it's not enough, Elon said. His voice rose. He felt desperate, helpless, angry. It's not enough to save her. Sometimes we can't save everyone, Lilian said softly. Sometimes we can only do our best and hope that's enough. Elon didn't accept that. He couldn't. There had to be a way. There was always a way. Problems had solutions. That's what computers taught him. That's what science taught him. Every problem had an answer if you were smart enough to find it. I'll find a way, Elon said. I promise. There was that word again, promise. He kept making promises to Lilian, promises that felt too big for a 12-year-old boy. They said goodbye. Lilian hugged him tight. Have a good holiday, Elon. Take care of yourself. I'll see you when school starts again. See you then, Elon said. He walked home slowly. The sun beat down on his head. His mind raced. How could he make more money? How could he save Tandu? The summer break was long, too long. Elon spent it in his room working on his computer. He tried to make another game, something bigger, something better, something that would sell for more money. But it was hard, really hard. The ideas in his head didn't translate to code the way he wanted. He hit problems he couldn't solve. His computer wasn't powerful enough. His skills weren't advanced enough. He was just a kid. And kids couldn't do everything, no matter how hard they tried. At night, he lay in bed and thought about Tandu, a little girl he had never met. A little girl whose life hung in the balance, all because her parents didn't have money, all because the color of her skin meant certain hospitals wouldn't help her. It wasn't fair. Nothing about it was fair. Elon promised himself something in the darkness of his bedroom. When I grow up, when I have money and power, I will change this. I will make sure no child dies because their parents are poor. I will fix this broken system. He didn't know how, but he would find a way. He had to. January 1988, school started again. Elon practically ran to the library on the first day. He needed to see Lilian. He needed to know how Tandu was doing. But Lilian wasn't there at lunch. Elon waited. He ate his sandwich alone. He watched the door. Maybe she was late. Maybe she had a meeting. Maybe she would come. She didn't come. The next day, Elon waited again. Still no Lilian. On the third day, Elon went to the school office. His heart pounded. He was nervous. Kids didn't usually go to the office unless they were in trouble. The secretary looked at him. Yes. I'm looking for Miss Ndilavu. Lilian Ndilavu. She works here. Is she okay? The secretary's face changed. Something sad crossed it. Miss Ndilavu took a leave of absence. Family emergency. Family emergency, Elon's chest tightened. Is it her daughter, Tandu? I can't discuss employee matters with students. I'm sorry. Elon left the office. His legs felt weak. Family emergency. That meant something bad, something really bad. He had to find out what happened. But how? He didn't know where Lilian lived. He didn't have a phone number. He only saw her at school. And now she wasn't at school. Days passed. A week, 2 weeks. No Lilian. Elon felt sick with worry. At night, he couldn't sleep. During the day, he couldn't focus. His mind kept imagining terrible things. Tandu in the hospital. Tandu getting worse. Tandu? No, he couldn't think about that. He wouldn't. February 1988. 3 weeks since school started. 3 weeks since he'd seen Lilian. Elon was sitting in math class, not paying attention. He was drawing rocket designs in his notebook, trying to distract himself, trying not to think about Tandu. Someone knocked on the classroom door. The teacher opened it. The school secretary stood there. She whispered something to the teacher. The teacher looked at Elon. Elon Musk. You're needed in the library. Elon's heart jumped. The library. Why? He stood up. His legs felt shaky. He walked through the halls. Each step felt heavy. Something was wrong. He could feel it. When he reached the library, he saw her. Lilian sat at their usual table, but she looked different. She looked smaller, thinner. Her eyes were red and swollen. Her face was tired, so tired. Lily, Elon said. He rushed over to her. Where have you been? I was so worried. Lilian tried to smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Hello, Elon. I'm sorry I worried you. I've been at the hospital with Tandu. How is she? Is she okay? Did she get the surgery? Lilian's face crumpled. She shook her head. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. No, she whispered. No surgery. We tried everything. We begged every hospital. We asked for loans. We prayed, but it wasn't enough. Nothing was enough. Elon felt cold, so cold. What does that mean? Lilian reached out and took both of his hands in hers. Her hands were trembling. Tandu passed away last Tuesday, Elon. Her heart just stopped. She was in the hospital. She wasn't in pain, but she's gone. My baby is gone. The world tilted. Elon couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what he was hearing. Tandia was dead. The little girl who loved to sing, who chased butterflies, who asked a million questions. The little girl he had tried to save with 500 rands. She was dead. No, Elon said. His voice sounded far away. No, that's not. She can't be. I'm so sorry, Elon. Lilian was crying harder now. I know you cared about her. I know you tried to help. You did help. You gave us hope. You gave us love. That meant everything. But it didn't save her. Elon's voice broke. Tears streamed down his face. I tried to help and it didn't matter. She died anyway. You're 12 years old, Lilian said. She pulled him into a hug. You're a child. This wasn't your responsibility. You did more than anyone could ask. Elon sobbed into Lilian's shoulder. He cried for Tandia, for Lilian, for the unfairness of it all, for his own helplessness. He had tried. He had really tried. He had given every rand he earned, but it hadn't been enough. A 3-year-old girl was dead because the world was broken, because the system was broken, because money mattered more than life, and Elon had been powerless to stop it. They sat there in the library, holding each other, crying together. A 12-year-old boy and a grieving mother sharing a pain too big for words. Finally, Lilian pulled back. She wiped her eyes. She wiped Elon's eyes too. I came back to work today because I needed to see you, she said. I needed to tell you something important. Will you listen? Elon nodded. He couldn't speak. His throat was too tight. What happened to Tandia was a tragedy, Lilian said. But it wasn't your failure. Do you understand? You tried to help. That makes you special. That makes you good. Most people wouldn't have tried at all. But she's still dead, Elon whispered. Yes, she's dead. And I will carry that pain for the rest of my life. But you know what else I'll carry? Lilian touched Elon's face gently. I'll carry the memory of a 12-year-old boy who gave everything he had to try to save my daughter. That's beautiful, Elon. That's love. Don't let this tragedy kill that love inside you. Promise me. I don't know if I can promise that, Elon said honestly. Then promise me this instead. Promise me you'll use this pain. Use it to drive you. Use it to make you stronger. One day, when you're older, when you have the power I know you'll have, use it to change things. Make sure other children don't die the way Tandia died. Make sure the world is better. Can you promise me that? Elon looked into Lilian's eyes. They were filled with grief, but also with hope. She still believed in him, even now, even after everything. I promise, Elon said. His voice was stronger now. I promise I'll change things. I'll make the world better. I'll save the children who need saving. I promise, Lily. Good, Lilian hugged him one more time. That's all I ask. Remember Tandia. Remember this pain. Let it make you better, not bitter. Let it push you toward greatness. Elon held onto those words. They became a weight in his chest, a weight he would carry for the rest of his life. He couldn't save Tandia, but maybe, just maybe, he could save the next child, and the next, and the next. That became his mission. Not just to build rockets and make electric cars, but to fix the broken systems that let children die for no reason except poverty. He made a promise to Lilian and Dilavu, a promise he would spend the next 40 years trying to keep. And it all started with a tragedy, with failure, with the pain of being too young and too powerless to save someone who mattered. That pain would drive Elon Musk forward for decades. It would push him to succeed when success seemed impossible. It would keep him going when everyone else said to quit, because he had made a promise. And Elon Musk never forgot his promises. But keeping promises was hard when you were still just a boy. The months after Tandia's death were dark for Elon. He went to school, he did his homework. He wrote code on his computer, but everything felt gray, empty, like the color had drained from the world. The bullying got worse. Marcus and his friends seemed to sense Elon's sadness. They pushed harder, hit harder, laughed louder. Elon stopped fighting back. What was the point? He couldn't even save a little girl. How could he defend himself against bigger, stronger boys? Lilian noticed. Of course she noticed. They still met in the library for lunch. But the conversations were different now, heavier, sadder. They both carried grief that made everything harder. One day in April 1988, Lilian brought 2 sandwiches. She gave one to Elon. "You're too thin," she said. "You need to eat more." "I'm not hungry," Elon said. It was true. Food tasted like nothing these days. "Eat anyway. You need your strength for what's ahead." Elon took a bite of the sandwich. It was good. better than the dry sandwiches his father made. Lilian had added tomatoes and lettuce and some kind of sauce. She had made it with care. "Thank you," he said quietly. They ate in silence for a while. The library was peaceful. Sun streamed through the windows. Dust particles floated in the light beams. Finally, Lilian spoke. "I heard the boys pushed you down again yesterday." Elon shrugged. "It's fine." "It's not fine, Elon. What am I supposed to do about it? I'm smaller than them. Weaker, I can't fight back." "There are other ways to be strong," Lilian said. "Physical strength isn't the only kind that matters. You have something those boys will never have." "What?" "A mind that sees the future, a heart that cares about others, a spirit that refuses to quit even when things are hard. Those kinds of strength last forever. Muscles fade, but the strength inside you, that grows." Elon wanted to believe her, but belief was hard when you got pushed down every day. "I've been thinking," Lilian continued, "about leaving South Africa." Elon looked up sharply. "Leaving? Where would you go?" "Maybe Cape Town, maybe somewhere else. David and I, we can't stay in Pretoria anymore, too many memories. Everywhere we go, we see places Tandu used to play. It's too painful." Elon's chest tightened. "When?" "Not right away, a few months maybe. We need to save money first, find jobs somewhere new." Lilian paused. "But you should leave too, Elon, not with us, but leave South Africa. This country doesn't deserve you." "Leave? I'm just a kid, I can't leave." "Not now, but soon. You're almost 17. In a few years you'll be old enough to make your own choices. And when that time comes, you should go. Go to America, or Canada, or anywhere that lets you be the person you're meant to be." Elon had thought about leaving before. South Africa felt small, trapped. The apartheid laws made everything difficult. The violence was getting worse. The future looked uncertain, but leaving meant leaving Lilian, his only friend, the only person who believed in him. "I don't want to leave you," Elon said. Lilian smiled. It was the first real smile Elon had seen on her face since Tandu died. "That's sweet. But you have to think bigger than one person, Elon, even me. You have gifts the world needs. But the world won't find them if you stay hidden in Pretoria." "What if I fail? What if I leave and nothing works out?" "Then you'll try again, and again, and again. That's what strong people do. They fail and they get back up. They fail again and they get back up again. They keep going until they succeed." Elon thought about that, about failing and getting back up. He had failed to save Tandu. That failure sat in his chest like a stone, but maybe Lilian was right. Maybe failure wasn't the end. Maybe it was just the beginning. "Tell me about your dreams again," Lilian said. "Tell me what you want to do when you grow up." Elon set down his sandwich. His eyes got brighter. "I want to make electric cars, real ones, cars that don't need gasoline, cars that don't pollute." "Good, what else?" "I want to build rockets, private rockets, not just government rockets. I want to make space travel cheaper, easier. I want people to go to Mars, to live there, to make humanity a multi-planet species." "Why Mars?" "Because all our eggs are in one basket right now, Earth. If something happens to Earth, a meteor, a war, a disaster, humanity could go extinct. But if we live on multiple planets, we're safer. We survive." Lilian nodded. "So you want to save humanity?" "I want to help. I want to make sure we have a future." "What else do you want to do?" Elon hesitated. Then the words poured out. "I want to fix the problems that killed Tandu. I want to make sure kids don't die because their parents are poor. I want to create a world where everyone gets the medical care they need, where everyone has a chance, where the color of your skin or the money in your bank account doesn't determine if you live or die." Lilian's eyes filled with tears, but they were good tears, proud tears. "That's a big dream, Elon, the biggest dream I've ever heard." "Too big?" Elon asked nervously. "No." Lilian reached across the table and took his hand. "Not too big, exactly the right size. The world needs people who dream big dreams, who see problems and don't look away, who care enough to try to fix things." "But I'm just one person." "One person can change everything. Thomas Edison was one person. Marie Curie was one person. Nelson Mandela is one person. They all started small. They all faced obstacles, but they refused to quit, and they changed the world. Elon squeezed Lilian's hand. Do you really think I can do it? I know you can, I've always known. They sat there holding hands across the library table, a black woman and a white boy breaking the rules just by being friends, but neither of them cared about the rules anymore. Some things were more important than rules. The school year moved forward. May became June, June became July. The days got shorter. Winter settled over Pretoria. Elon turned 13 in June. His birthday was quiet. His father took him to dinner at a cheap restaurant. They didn't talk much. Elon Musk wasn't good at conversation. He was cold and distant, wrapped up in his own problems. But Lilian remembered. She gave Elon a gift in the library, a small package wrapped in brown paper. "Happy birthday," she said. "I hope you like it." Elon opened the package carefully. Inside was a notebook, a beautiful notebook with a leather cover. The leather was soft and worn like someone had carried it for years. "This was my journal," Lilian explained. "I used to write in it when I was younger, before I got married, before Tandu. I filled it with dreams and plans and hopes for the future. Most of those dreams never came true, but that's okay. Dreams don't have to come true to matter. They give us direction, purpose." Elon opened the notebook. The pages were empty except for the first one. On that page, in Lilian's neat handwriting, were words that made his eyes sting. "For Elon, who will change the world, remember your promise, Lilian." Below that, she had written something else. "You are stronger than you know, braver than you believe, and more important than you can imagine. When the world tells you no, remember that I said yes. When people doubt you, remember that I believed. You are destined for greatness, Elon Musk. Don't ever forget that." Elon couldn't speak. His throat was too tight. He just stared at the words, reading them over and over. "Write in it," Lilian said. "Write about your dreams, your plans, your promises. When you're old and successful, you can look back and remember the boy who started with nothing but dreams." "I'll treasure it forever," Elon managed to say. "Good, and Elon." "Yes. I need to tell you something. David found a job in Cape Town. We're moving at the end of August, after this school year ends." Elon felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. "August? That's only 2 months away." "I know, I'm sorry. I wish we had more time, but we have to go. We need a fresh start, somewhere new." "Will I ever see you again?" The question came out small and scared. Lilian's smile was sad. "I don't know, Elon, I hope so, but life is unpredictable. We don't always get what we want. But we're friends. Friends don't just disappear. Sometimes friends have to say goodbye. It doesn't mean we forget each other. It doesn't mean we stop caring. It just means our paths go in different directions for a while." Elon felt tears coming. He blinked them back. He didn't want to cry, not here, not now, but Lilian saw anyway. "It's okay to be sad," she said gently. "I'm sad too. You're one of the best things that ever happened to me, Elon. You gave me hope when I needed it most. You tried to save my daughter. You showed me that good people still exist in this broken world." "I failed," Elon said. "I couldn't save her." "You were 12 years old. Of course you couldn't save her, but you tried. That's what matters, and now you're 13. One day you'll be 20, then 30, then 40. You'll grow stronger, smarter, more powerful. And when that day comes, you'll save thousands of children, tens of thousands. You'll build the future Tandu never got to see." "How do you know?" "Because I believe in you. I've always believed in you, and my belief isn't wrong." Elon wiped his eyes. "I'm going to miss you so much." "I'll miss you too, but we still have 2 more months. Let's make them count." And they did. June and July passed too quickly. Elon and Lilian met every single day in the library. They talked about everything: science, space, dreams, life, loss, hope. Lilian told Elon stories about her childhood, about growing up poor but happy, about her mother who cleaned houses for white families, about her father who worked in the mines and died when Lilian was 15. "My father taught me something important," Lilian said. "He said the measure of a person isn't how much money they have, it's how much they give when they have nothing. You proved that, Elon. You gave everything you had to help Tandu. That makes you rich in the ways that matter." Elon told Lilian about his own family struggles, about his parents' divorce, about his difficult relationship with his father, about feeling alone most of the time. "Loneliness is hard," Lilian agreed. But sometimes lonely people become the most successful people because they have to be strong. They can't rely on others. They learn to rely on themselves. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Elon asked. Both. It's hard, but it makes you tough, and you're going to need to be tough for what's ahead. August came too fast. The last week of school arrived. Lilian and David were leaving that Saturday, moving to Cape Town, starting over. On Friday, the last day, Elon met Lilian in the library one final time. They sat at their table, their special table in the back corner, the place where their friendship had grown, where they had shared lunches and dreams and grief. I brought you something, Lilian said. She pulled out a photograph. It was a picture of her holding baby Tandu. Tandu was maybe 6 months old. She was laughing. Lilian was smiling. Both of them looked so happy. I want you to have this, Lilian said, so you remember why you're doing all of this, why you're going to change the world. Remember Tandu, remember what the world took from her, and make sure the world is better. Elon took the photograph carefully. His hands shook. I'll keep it forever, I promise. I know you will. Lilian pulled Elon into a long hug. She held him tight, like she was trying to squeeze all her love and belief into him, trying to give him enough strength to last a lifetime. I couldn't save Tandu, Elon whispered into her shoulder. I was too young, too powerless, too poor. Lilian pulled back and looked him in the eye. Listen to me carefully, Elon. Are you listening? Yes. You did more than you know. You showed us kindness. You gave us hope. You tried with everything you had. That's all anyone can ever do. And now you must do something bigger. You must create a future where no child dies because their parents can't afford medical care, where no person is limited by where they were born or what they look like. Can you do that? Can you promise me that? Elon's voice was strong and clear. I promise, Lily. I promise I'll use whatever success I find to build that world. I'll make electric cars so the planet is cleaner. I'll build rockets so humanity has a backup plan. And I'll make sure kids like Tandu get the help they need. I'll change the system. I'll fix what's broken, whatever it takes. Good, that's my Elon. That's the boy who will change everything. They stood there looking at each other, memorizing each other's faces, trying to hold on to this moment before it slipped away forever. Will I ever see you again? Elon asked one last time. Lilian smiled. It was a sad smile, but also a hopeful one. If not in this life, then in the better world you're going to create. I'll be watching, Elon, cheering you on, believing in you, always. Always, Elon repeated. They hugged one more time. Then Lilian picked up her bag and walked toward the library door. She paused in the doorway. She looked back at Elon one last time. Remember your promise, she said. I will. I'll never forget. Then she was gone, walking down the hallway, disappearing around the corner, out of Elon's life but never out of his heart. Elon stood alone in the empty library. He looked down at the photograph of Lilian and baby Tandu. He looked at the leather notebook with Lilian's words inside. He made a vow, a deep, serious vow that would shape the rest of his life. I'll become rich enough to save children like Tandu. I'll become powerful enough to change the systems that failed her. I'll build the future you believed I could build, Lily. Whatever it takes, however long it takes, I will keep my promise. He was 13 years old, standing in a library in Pretoria, South Africa. He had no money, no power, no connections, but he had something more important. He had a promise and a purpose, and a woman who believed in him even when he couldn't believe in himself. That was enough. It had to be enough, because Elon Musk was going to change the world. He just didn't know it would take him 40 years to fully keep his promise. September 1988. Elon was back in school. But everything felt different now, empty. The library wasn't the same without Lilian. He still ate lunch there, but now he sat alone. No one to talk to, no one to believe in him. The bullying continued. Marcus pushed him, other kids laughed, teachers looked the other way. Nothing changed except Elon himself. Something inside him had hardened. The grief over Tandu, the loss of Lilian, it all crystallized into something solid, something unbreakable: determination. He opened Lilian's leather notebook every night. He read her words over and over. You will change the world. Remember your promise. And every night he wrote about his dreams, his plans, his promise. I will build electric cars, he wrote. I will make rockets. I will save children who need saving. I will fix what's broken. I promise, Lily, I promise. The notebook became his anchor. When school was hard, he read it. When bullies pushed him down, he read it. When his father yelled at him, he read it. Lilian's words kept him going. June 1989. Elon turned 17. He made a decision that would change everything. He was leaving South Africa. His mother, May, had moved to Canada years ago. Elon had a Canadian passport through her. He could go there, start over, escape the bullies, escape his father. Escape the violence and uncertainty of South Africa. "I'm going to Canada," he told his father. Elon Musk looked at him coldly. "You'll fail. You think you're so smart, but you'll end up working in a factory." Elon didn't argue. He just packed his bags. Inside his suitcase, carefully wrapped in a shirt, was Lilian's notebook and the photograph of her with baby Tandu. These were his most precious possessions, more valuable than money, more important than anything else he owned. In June 1989, Elon boarded a plane, 17 years old, alone, carrying one suitcase and a promise he intended to keep. As the plane lifted off from Johannesburg, Elon looked out the window. South Africa got smaller below him, the country of his birth, the place where he'd been bullied and hurt and broken, but also the place where he'd met Lilian, where he'd learned what it meant to care about others, where he'd made the promise that would define his entire life. "I'll come back someday," he whispered to the window. "When I'm successful, when I've kept my promise, I'll come back and find you, Lily. I'll show you what I've become." He climbed higher, into the clouds, into the unknown, into the future. Canada was hard, really hard. Elon arrived with almost no money. He stayed with relatives who didn't really want him there. He took odd jobs. He cleaned out grain bins. He cut logs. He worked at a vegetable farm. The work was difficult, physical, nothing like the future he'd imagined. But Elon didn't quit. Quitting wasn't an option. He had made a promise. At night, in whatever cheap room he was renting, he studied. He read everything he could about business, technology, physics, economics. He taught himself. The library became his classroom again, just like in Pretoria, and always he carried Lilian's notebook with him. In 1990, Elon enrolled at Queen's University in Ontario. He studied physics and economics. He was brilliant, but also different. Other students found him strange, intense, too focused. Elon didn't care. He wasn't there to make friends. He was there to build the future. "What's your big plan?" a classmate asked him once. "I'm going to start companies that change the world," Elon said simply. The classmate laughed. "Yeah, right, everyone says that." "I'm not everyone." In 1992, Elon transferred to the University of Pennsylvania. He wanted to be closer to the center of technology and innovation. Penn was better connected to Silicon Valley, to the future. He studied harder than anyone. While other students partied, Elon read textbooks. While others slept, Elon worked on business plans. While others dreamed small dreams, Elon dreamed of Mars and electric cars and changing the world. On his desk in his dorm room sat Lilian's photograph. Every morning he looked at it. Every morning he remembered his promise. "I'm getting closer, Lily," he would whisper. "I'm not there yet, but I'm getting closer." He graduated from Penn in 1995 with degrees in physics and economics. He was 24 years old, smart, driven, ready. He moved to California, to Silicon Valley, where the internet was just beginning to explode, where the future was being built. This was his chance, finally. In 1995, Elon and his brother Kimball started a company called Zip2. It was a software company that helped newspapers publish online city guides, maps, business directories. Local information. It wasn't rockets, it wasn't electric cars, but it was a start. Elon worked like a madman, 20-hour days, 7 days a week. He slept at the office. He showered at the YMCA. He ate cheap food from convenience stores. Investors thought he was crazy. "You can't work like this forever," they said. "I don't need forever," Elon replied. "I just need long enough to succeed." Lilian's notebook sat on his desk at Zip2. When things got hard, and they got very hard, Elon would open it and read her words. "You are stronger than you know, braver than you believe." Those words carried him through the impossible moments, through the times when investors refused to give him money, through the times when the company almost collapsed, through the times when he wanted to give up. But he couldn't give up. He had made a promise. In 1999, Compaq bought Zip2 for $307 million. Elon's share was $22 million, $22 million. At 28 years old, Elon Musk was a millionaire. The boy who had sold a computer game for $500 to try to save Tandu was now rich, really rich. His first thought wasn't about buying a mansion or a fancy car. His first thought was, I can keep my promise now. I have money. I have power. I can start changing things. But $22 million, while a lot, wasn't enough to change the world. Not really. He needed more. He needed to build something bigger. So instead of relaxing, instead of celebrating, Elon invested almost all his money into a new company. He called it XCOM. It was an online bank, a way to send money over the internet, fast, easy, cheap. His investors thought he was insane. You just made millions, take a break, enjoy it. I don't have time for breaks, Elon said. I have promises to keep. XCOM grew quickly. It merged with another company called Confinity. Together, they became PayPal, a way to pay for things online, to send money to anyone, anywhere. Elon poured himself into PayPal. More 20-hour days, more sleeping at the office, more instant noodles and convenience store sandwiches. He was 30 years old, single, rich on paper but living like he was poor. All his money was invested back into the company. Why do you work so hard? Someone asked him once. Elon didn't have a good answer. How could he explain about Lilian, about Tandu, about a promise made in a library in Pretoria? I just do, he said instead. In 2002, eBay bought PayPal for $15 billion. Elon's share was $165 million. $165 million. He was 31 years old and he was truly wealthy now. Most people would retire, buy an island, relax on a beach somewhere, live in luxury forever. Elon did the opposite. He took his money and started two new companies, both at the same time, both incredibly risky, both likely to fail. The first company was called SpaceX, Space Exploration Technologies. Its goal was to build rockets, cheap rockets, reusable rockets, rockets that could take people to Mars. People laughed at him. Private rockets, that's impossible. Only governments can build rockets. That's what they said about online banking too, Elon replied. The second company was Tesla. Well, technically he didn't start it. Two engineers named Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning started it, but Elon invested heavily in it. He became chairman. He pushed for electric cars that were actually good, fast, beautiful, cars people would want to drive. Again, people laughed. Electric cars are glorified golf carts. No one will buy them. They will if we make them right, Elon said. Both companies sucked up money like black holes, millions and millions of dollars. Elon's fortune started disappearing fast, but he didn't stop. He couldn't stop because he had made a promise. And these companies, SpaceX and Tesla, they were part of keeping that promise. SpaceX would make humanity multiplanetary, safe, protected from extinction. That would save billions of lives in the future. Tesla would fight climate change, reduce pollution, save the planet. That would save millions of lives now. Both companies were about saving people, just like Elon had tried to save Tandu all those years ago. I'm doing it, Lily, he whispered to her photograph at night. I'm building the future you believed I could build. I'm keeping my promise. But by 2008, everything was falling apart. SpaceX had tried to launch rockets 3 times. All 3 times, the rockets exploded. They crashed. They failed. Elon had spent $100 million of his own money, and he had nothing to show for it except explosions. Tesla was running out of money too. The company was burning through cash. They couldn't manufacture cars fast enough. The economy was crashing. The financial crisis of 2008 meant no one wanted to invest in risky car companies. Elon was getting divorced. His personal life was a mess. His companies were dying. His fortune was almost gone. He had a choice to make. He had just enough money left to save one company, not both. One, he could save SpaceX or he could save Tesla, but not both. It was the hardest decision of his life. One night in 2008, Elon sat alone in his office. Both companies were about to collapse. Hundreds of employees would lose their jobs. His dreams would die. His promise would remain unkept. He pulled out Lilian's notebook. He hadn't written in it for a while. Life had been too chaotic, too busy, too hard. But now he opened to a blank page, and he wrote, Lily, I'm failing. Both companies are dying. I don't have enough money to save them both. Everyone says I should let them go, cut my losses, move on, but I can't. I made you a promise. I promised I would change the world. I promised I would save the children who need saving. I promised I would build the future Tandu never got to see. I can't give up. Not now, not ever. I'm going to bet everything. I'm going to split my remaining money between both companies. Maybe they'll both survive. Maybe they'll both fail, but at least I'll know I tried with everything I had, just like I tried to save Tandu. Win or lose, I kept fighting. That has to count for something. Elon. He closed the notebook. He made his decision. He split his remaining money between SpaceX and Tesla, every last dollar. He bet everything on his dream, on his promise. If he failed, he would be broke, destroyed. A cautionary tale about dreaming too big. If he succeeded, well, maybe he could finally keep his promise to Lilian. September 28, 2008. SpaceX's fourth rocket launch, the Falcon 1. If this failed, SpaceX was finished. Done. Over. Elon watched from mission control. His hands shook. Everything rode on this moment. The rocket launched. It climbed. It kept climbing. No explosion, no failure. It reached orbit. The first privately funded liquid fuel rocket to reach orbit. SpaceX had succeeded. 2 months later, NASA awarded SpaceX a $16 billion contract to deliver cargo to the International Space Station. SpaceX was saved. Tesla barely survived too. Last-minute investments. Elon's refusal to quit. By 2010, Tesla was still alive. Barely, but alive. Elon had done it. He had bet everything and won. But the promise wasn't fully kept yet, not even close. There was still more to do, much more, and Elon Musk wasn't done fighting. After 2008, things slowly got better. SpaceX kept launching rockets. Tesla started selling cars. The Model S came out in 2012. It was beautiful, fast, electric, everything Elon had promised it would be. People stopped laughing at him. They started paying attention instead. But Elon didn't celebrate. He didn't slow down because his promise to Lilian wasn't just about rockets and cars. It was bigger than that, much bigger. In 2013, Elon did something that shocked everyone. He made all of Tesla's patents public, free. Anyone could use them. His lawyers thought he was crazy. Those patents are worth billions. Why are you giving them away? Because climate change is bigger than one company, Elon explained. If we're going to save the planet, we need everyone building electric cars, not just us. The goal isn't to beat the competition. The goal is to save the world. People didn't understand, but Elon did. This was part of his promise. Make the world better, help people, even if it cost him money. The photograph of Lilian and Tandu still sat on his desk. Every office he worked in, that photograph came with him. A reminder, a promise keeper. In 2015, Elon started thinking about something else. Something he'd been planning for years. Medical care, children's medical care. The thing that had killed Tandu. He had money now. Lots of money. Tesla was worth billions. SpaceX was worth billions. He personally was worth over $10 billion. He could do something real, something that would save lives, but he had to be careful. He was a public figure now, famous. Everything he did made headlines, and he didn't want this to be about publicity. This was personal, private, sacred. So he did something unusual. He created a second foundation, separate from his main Musk Foundation that everyone knew about. This one was different. No press releases, no announcements, no publicity at all. He called it the Lilly Foundation. Only a few people knew what the name meant. Elon never explained it publicly, but in his heart he knew. This was for Lilian, for Tandu, for the promise he'd made 27 years ago in a library in Pretoria. The Lilly Foundation had one goal: provide free medical care to children who couldn't afford it, especially children with heart conditions, especially in South Africa. Elon personally donated $50 million to start it, then another $50 million, then more. The foundation worked quietly. It partnered with hospitals, it paid for surgeries, it trained doctors, it bought equipment, all without fanfare, all without publicity. Elon didn't want credit, he wanted results. By 2016, the Lilly Foundation had paid for over 500 pediatric heart surgeries. 500 children who would have died, children like Tandu, were alive because of Elon's money. 500 lives saved. But Elon didn't feel satisfied. 500 wasn't enough. Not when thousands of children still died every year from treatable conditions. He needed to do more. In 2016, Elon started another company, Neuralink. It was about connecting human brains to computers, about helping paralyzed people walk again, about curing blindness and deafness. People thought it was science fiction. You can't just plug computers into brains. Watch me, Elon said. This was part of the promise too: help people who were suffering, use technology to solve problems, make the impossible possible. That same year, Elon helped his cousin start SolarCity, a company that installed solar panels on houses. Clean energy, free energy from the sun. Another way to fight climate change. Another way to save lives. Everything connected back to the promise. Every company, every decision, every risk. Why do you push so hard? A reporter asked him in 2017, You're already successful, already rich. Why not just enjoy it? Elon thought about Lilian, about her kind eyes, about her belief in him, about a 3-year-old girl who died because the system was broken. Because there's work to do, he said simply. Because the world needs fixing. Because I made promises I intend to keep. The reporter didn't understand. How could she? She didn't know about Pretoria, about the library, about Lilian and Tandy and the notebook that still sat on Elon's desk. Some things were too personal to explain. By 2018, the Lilly Foundation had expanded. It wasn't just heart surgeries anymore, it was scholarships, educational programs for disadvantaged youth in South Africa, technology training, engineering courses. All of it focused on Black South African students. Students who, like Lilian, had the talent but not the opportunity. Students who deserved a chance. Elon donated another $100 million, then another $50 million. He didn't talk about it publicly, but the money flowed steadily, quietly, purposefully. In universities across South Africa, students were studying engineering on Lilly Foundation scholarships. They didn't know who Lilly was. They didn't know about Elon's connection. They just knew someone believed in them. Someone was giving them a chance, just like Lilian had given Elon a chance all those years ago. By 2019, over 2,000 children had received free heart surgery through the Lilly Foundation. 2,000 lives saved. 2,000 Tandus who got to grow up, who got to chase butterflies and ask questions and sing songs. Elon saw a news article about one of them, a little girl in Cape Town, 5 years old, born with the same heart condition Tandu had. Her parents were poor. Factory workers, no money for surgery. The Lilly Foundation paid for everything. The surgery, the hospital stay, the medications, all of it. The girl survived. She was healthy now. Running, playing, living. The article showed a photograph of her smiling, laughing, alive. Elon stared at that photograph for a long time. Tears rolled down his cheeks. This was why, this was the point of everything. All the work, all the stress, all the impossible hours and crazy risks. This little girl got to live. Because Elon had kept his promise. "I'm doing it, Lily," he whispered to the photograph on his desk. "I couldn't save Tandu, but I'm saving her and thousands like her. Your daughter's death meant something. It changed me. It changed everything." In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic hit. The world shut down, economies crashed, people died by the millions. Elon did what he always did. He tried to help. Tesla factories started making ventilators, medical equipment, anything hospitals needed. SpaceX used its supply chains to deliver medical supplies. The Lilly Foundation donated millions to pandemic relief efforts in South Africa. "You're spreading yourself too thin," his executives warned. "You can't save everyone." "I can try," Elon said, because that's what he'd learned from Lilian. You try, even when it seems impossible, even when you might fail, you try with everything you have. By 2021, SpaceX was landing rockets, reusing them, making space travel cheaper. The dream of Mars was getting closer. Real. Tesla was the most valuable car company in the world. Electric cars were everywhere now. Other companies were copying Tesla, making their own electric vehicles. That was exactly what Elon wanted. He wasn't trying to win, he was trying to save the planet. "We did it," his team celebrated. "Tesla won." "No," Elon corrected them. "The planet is winning, that's what matters." In 2022, Elon became the richest person in the world. His net worth hit $200 billion, then $250 billion, an unimaginable amount of money. People asked what he would do with it all. "Keep building," Elon said. "Keep fixing problems, keep pushing forward." What he didn't say publicly was this: keep honoring the promise. The Lilly Foundation expanded again. Now it was building entire medical centers, state-of-the-art facilities in South Africa, free pediatric care, not just heart surgery, everything, cancer treatment, trauma care, mental health services. By 2023, there were 5 Lilly medical centers across South Africa: Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, Pretoria, Port Elizabeth. Thousands of children treated every year. Thousands of lives saved, but Elon wanted more. He wanted something permanent, something that would last long after he was gone. He created an endowment, a massive fund that would pay for children's medical care forever. He donated $2 billion to it, $2 billion invested carefully, generating returns that would fund free medical care for centuries. "Why so much?" his financial advisors asked. "That's excessive." "It's not excessive," Elon said quietly. "It's a promise." In December 2022, Elon got an email that changed everything. It was from South Africa, from an address he didn't recognize. The subject line read, "About Lilian and D. Lovu." Elon's heart stopped. His hands started shaking. He clicked on the email immediately. It was from a young woman. She introduced herself as Tandu and D. Lovu. Tandu, the same name. Elon read the email 3 times, then 4, then 5. He couldn't believe what it said. This Tandu wasn't the Tandu who had died. This was Lilian's granddaughter, born in 1995, named after her aunt who had passed away. Lilian had remarried after David died. Had another daughter, a daughter Elon never knew about. And that daughter had given birth to this Tandu. But the most important part of the email was this. Lilian had passed away in December 2022, just weeks ago. She had been 74 years old. Elon felt like someone had punched him in the chest. Lilian was gone. The woman who had believed in him. The woman who had changed his life. The woman he'd been trying to find for over 30 years. Gone. He kept reading through his tears. Tandu wrote that before Lilian died, she had asked her granddaughter to find Elon Musk, to tell him something important. "Tell Elon he kept his promise," Lilian had said. "Tell him I saw what he built. Tell him I'm proud. Tell him Tandu's heart beats in all the children he saved." Elon broke down completely. He sat at his desk, the same desk where Lilian's photograph and notebook lived, and sobbed. Deep, wrenching sobs that came from the very center of his soul. She knew. Lilian had known what he'd been doing. She'd followed his career. She'd seen the rockets, the cars, the foundation, everything, and she was proud. The email continued. Tandu wrote that her grandmother had kept newspaper clippings about Elon's achievements, articles about SpaceX, about Tesla, about his success. But there was one clipping that Lilian treasured most, an article from 2019 about a child in Cape Town who received free heart surgery from an anonymous foundation. The article mentioned it was one of thousands of similar surgeries funded by unnamed donors. Lilian had known. She'd figured it out. The Lilly Foundation, the connection to her name, the focus on heart surgery, the work in South Africa. She'd known it was Elon, and she'd been proud. Tandu attached a photograph to the email. It showed elderly Lilian holding that newspaper clipping. She was smiling, really smiling. The same kind smile from all those years ago. Elon stared at that photograph for hours. His Lily, older, gray-haired, but still beautiful, still kind, still believing in him. "I'm sorry I never found you," Elon whispered to the screen. "I tried, Lily. I searched for years, but I never stopped keeping my promise. I hope you knew that. I hope you understood." There was one more paragraph in the email, one more thing Tandu needed to tell him, and what she wrote would change everything Elon thought he knew about his life with Lilian. Elon kept reading. His eyes moved down the screen. His heart pounded in his chest. Tandu's email continued. "Mr. Musk, there's something else you should know. Something my grandmother wanted me to tell you. It's important. It might be difficult to hear, but she made me promise to share it with you. In 1987, my grandmother was diagnosed with breast cancer. It was early stage, treatable. The doctors said if she got treatment right away, she would probably survive. She would live, but treatment was expensive, very expensive. My grandparents had been saving money. Not much. They were poor. But they had saved about 600 rands over several years. That money was supposed to be for emergencies. The cancer was an emergency, the biggest one. That money could have paid for a year of treatment, chemotherapy, medications, doctor visits. It might have saved her life. But then she met you. She saw something special in you, Mr. Musk. A lonely boy who got pushed downstairs. A brilliant child who dreamed of rockets and electric cars. A kind soul who cared about others even when he was hurting. She made a choice she never told anyone about, not even my grandfather. She used that 600 rands, the money saved for her cancer treatment, to help you instead. She bought you books, expensive books about science and inventors, books the school library didn't have, books she knew you needed. She paid the school when they tried to revoke your library privileges because you weren't paying attention in class. She kept that library access open for you. She bought materials for your computer projects, notebooks, paper, small things that added up. She gave you lunch money when she knew your father wasn't feeding you properly. All of it came from that 600 rands, the money that should have saved her life. She chose your future over her own life, Mr. Musk. By the time the money was gone, it was too late for treatment. The cancer had spread, become aggressive, untreatable. She lived with it for years. 35 years, it was slow growing, but it was always there. Growing, spreading. Eventually, it's what killed her. She never regretted it, not once. She told me before she died, I had a choice. I could save myself or I could save Elon's future. I chose the future. I chose hope. I chose to believe that one brilliant boy with the right support could change more lives than I ever could. And I was right. She died knowing she was right. She died knowing you kept your promise. She died proud of you. She wanted you to know this because she knew you would blame yourself. She knew you would think you failed to save Tandu, that you weren't good enough, that you didn't do enough. She wanted you to understand you didn't fail. You never failed. Every rocket that launches, every electric car that drives, every child who receives free medical care, that's her legacy too. She invested in you. And that investment saved thousands of lives. Maybe millions if we count all the people who will benefit from clean energy and space exploration. She didn't just believe in you, Mr. Musk. She bet everything on you, her very life, and she won. My grandmother asked me to tell you one more thing. Tell Elon I love him. Tell him he was like a son to me. Tell him his promise is kept. Tell him to stop carrying guilt and start carrying joy. He earned it. She wanted to meet you one more time before she died, but she was too weak to travel, and she didn't want to burden you. She knew you were busy changing the world. She was content to watch from afar. I wish you could have seen her in her final days. She was in pain, yes, but she was also happy, peaceful, satisfied. She lived a good life. She made a difference. Through you, she touched millions of lives. That's not failure, Mr. Musk. That's success. That's love. That's the most beautiful kind of legacy. Elon couldn't see the screen anymore. Tears blurred everything. His whole body shook. He couldn't breathe right. Lilian had given up her life for him, literally. She had sacrificed her cancer treatment, her chance to live, to help a 12-year-old boy she barely knew. No, Elon whispered. No, no, no. Lily, why? Why would you do that? But he knew why, because she believed in him, because she saw potential in him that no one else saw, because she loved him. She had loved him like a son, and he had never known, never understood the depth of her sacrifice. All these years he thought he had failed her, failed to save Tandu, failed to be good enough, failed to keep his promise fast enough. But Lilian hadn't seen failure. She had seen success. She had seen the boy she invested in becoming a man who changed the world. She had seen her 600 rands multiply into billions of dollars of good works, into thousands of lives saved, into a cleaner planet, into hope for humanity's future. She had made the best investment of her life, and she knew it. Elon sat at his desk for a long time. Hours passed. He didn't move. He just stared at the photograph of Lilian and baby Tandu, the photograph that had sat on every desk in every office for 35 years. You gave me everything, he whispered to the photograph. Your money, your time, your belief, your life. And I never knew, I never got to thank you properly. I never got to tell you how much you meant to me. But maybe she knew. Maybe she had always known. She had followed his career, watched his success, seen the children he saved through the Lily Foundation. She knew he loved her. She knew he was grateful. She knew he kept his promise. That had to be enough. It had to be. Elon picked up his phone. His hands still shook. He typed a response to Tandu's email. Dear Tandu, thank you for telling me it's the hardest and most beautiful thing I've ever learned. Your grandmother was the most important person in my life. She saved me when I was drowning. She believed in me when no one else did. She gave me hope when I had none. I wish I could have saved her. I wish I could have known about the cancer. I would have given anything, everything to help her live. But I understand why she made her choice, and I honor it. She bet on the future. She bet on me. I've spent 35 years trying to be worthy of that bet. I'll spend the rest of my life continuing that work. I need to meet you. I need to hear more about your grandmother. I need to see Cape Town, where she spent her final years. I need to connect with the granddaughter of the woman who changed my life. Can we arrange a visit soon? I'm coming to South Africa. It's time. With deep gratitude and love, Elon. Send. Then he opened his calendar. He cleared everything for the next 2 weeks. Meetings, launches, presentations, all of it could wait. This was more important. This was everything. He was going back to South Africa, back to where it all began, back to honor the woman who had given her life for his future. 3 days later, Elon landed in Cape Town. It was January 2023, summer in South Africa, hot and bright. The city sprawled below the plane as it descended. Mountains. Ocean, buildings climbing up the hillsides. Tandu met him at the airport. She was 27 years old, beautiful. She had Lilian's kind eyes, the same gentle smile. When Elon saw her, he started crying again. He couldn't help it. She looked so much like her grandmother. Tandil hugged him, a long, tight hug. "She loved you so much," Tandil whispered. "She talked about you all the time. My Elon," she called you. "My brilliant boy who became a brilliant man." "I loved her too," Elon managed to say. "More than I can express." They drove through Cape Town together. Tandil showed him the township where Lilian had lived, a modest neighborhood, small houses, working-class people, nothing fancy. "She could have asked you for money," Tandil said. "After you became successful, she knew you would have helped her, but she never asked. She said she didn't invest in you to get a return. She invested because it was right." That was Lilian, always thinking of others, never asking for anything in return. They visited Lilian's grave. It was in a small cemetery on the edge of the township. A simple headstone, nothing elaborate. The stone read, "Lilian Ndilavu 1948-2022, beloved mother, grandmother, teacher she believed in the future." Elon knelt beside the grave. He placed his hand on the headstone. It was warm from the sun. "Hi Lily," he said softly. "I'm sorry it took me so long to find you. I'm sorry I never got to say goodbye properly. I'm sorry for so many things, but I want you to know I kept my promise, every part of it. The rockets fly. The cars are electric. The planet is cleaner. And the children, thousands of children, they're alive because of what you started, because you believed in me. You gave your life for me. I've spent my life trying to be worthy of that gift. I hope I succeeded. I hope I made you proud. I love you, Lily. I always will. Thank you for everything. Thank you for saving me. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for your sacrifice. Rest well. You earned it. You changed the world. Through me, yes. But it was your courage that started it all. Your love that made it possible. I'll never forget you. Never stop honoring you. Your legacy will live forever through the work I do. Through the children I save. Through the future I'm building. That's my promise to you now. And I always keep my promises." He stayed there for an hour, talking to Lilian, telling her about SpaceX, about Tesla, about the Lilly Foundation, about everything she had missed, everything she had made possible. Finally, Tandil touched his shoulder. "There's one more place she wanted you to see." They drove across Cape Town to a new building. Modern, clean, beautiful, large glass windows, a sign over the entrance. Elon stopped walking when he saw the sign. His breath caught. "Lilian Ndilavu Center for Advanced Learning and Technology. Your foundation built this," Tandil explained. "But you didn't know it would be named after my grandmother. I arranged it as a surprise. She would have loved it." Elon walked through the building in a daze. Computer labs full of children learning to code. Science rooms with telescopes and microscopes. Engineering workshops with 3D printers and robotics equipment. Art studios, music rooms, libraries full of books, all of it free. All of it available to children from poor families. Children who, like Elon, had talent but no opportunity. Children who, like Lilian, had dreams but no resources. "We serve 500 children right now," Tandil said. "She worked here. She was a teacher just like her grandmother. But we're expanding. Next year we'll serve 1,000, then 2,000. Your foundation funded everything. Computers, teachers, books, all of it." Elon watched the children working. A girl building a robot, a boy writing code. A group designing a solar panel system, all of them focused, excited, full of potential, just like he had been at their age. "These kids," Tandil said, "they're the next Elon Musks, the next generation of inventors and dreamers. My grandmother believed in one boy and changed the world. Now you're believing in hundreds of children, thousands. The impact is exponential." Elon nodded. He couldn't speak. Emotion choked him. This was it. This was the promise fulfilled, not just saving children medically, but giving them opportunities, education, hope, a chance to become whatever they could be. "There's one more thing," Tandil said. She led him to a quiet room at the back of the building, a small library, shelves full of books. On the wall was a large photograph. It showed young Lilian, maybe 30 years old. She was smiling, beautiful, full of life. Below the photograph was a plaque. It read, "Lilian Ndilavu, teacher, believer. Visionary, she saw potential in a lonely boy and changed the world through her belief. This center honors her legacy of faith in human potential. May we all believe in each other the way she believed in Elon Musk." Elon stood in front of that photograph for a long time, just looking, remembering, feeling. "Thank you," he finally said to Tandil. "Thank you for this, for telling me the truth, for honoring her, for everything." "She's the one who deserves thanks," Tandil said. She's the one who started it all. Elon nodded. She was right. Lilian had started it all, with 600 rands and a belief in a 12-year-old boy, with books and lunches and kindness. With a sacrifice so great that Elon still couldn't fully comprehend it, she had given her life, and in return he had given his life's work. It was the most beautiful exchange, the most profound partnership, teacher and student, believer and believer. Two people separated by age and race and circumstance, connected by love and hope and promise. That was the real story, not just about Elon Musk's success, but about the woman who made it possible, the woman who saw greatness in a broken boy and sacrificed everything to nurture it. "I'm going to do more," Elon said suddenly. "This center is beautiful, but it's not enough. I'm going to build 10 more, 20 more across South Africa, across the world. Centers where children learn and dream and build the future, all of them named after your grandmother. The Lilian Ndilavu Centers." Thandil smiled through tears. She would love that. "And I'm changing the Lily Foundation," Elon continued. The words poured out of him. Ideas, plans, promises. More medical care, more scholarships, more opportunities. "I'm committing $5 billion, not over time, right now, today. $5 billion to honor your grandmother's legacy, to multiply her investment 1 billion times over." "Mr. Musk." "Call me Elon, please, we're family. Your grandmother was family to me. That makes you family too." Thandil hugged him again. They stood there in that small library under Lilian's photograph, holding each other and crying. Two people connected by a woman who had changed both their lives. A woman who had died never seeking recognition, never asking for thanks, content to watch from the shadows as her investment in one boy changed millions of lives. That was love, real love, the kind that sacrifices, the kind that gives without expecting return, the kind that changes the world quietly, one act of kindness at a time. Elon looked up at Lilian's photograph one last time. "I kept my promise, Lily, and I'm going to keep it even bigger now. Every child who walks through these doors, every life saved through the foundation, every rocket that launches toward Mars, they're all because of you. Your legacy, your love, your sacrifice. You didn't just believe in me, you made me possible. And I will spend every remaining day of my life making sure that gift multiplies into millions of other lives touched, changed, and saved. That's my promise. Again, always, forever." Elon spent 3 more days in Cape Town with Thandil. They talked for hours, about Lilian, about her life after leaving Pretoria, about the years Elon had missed. Thandil showed him photographs. Lilian at 50, at 60, at 70, always smiling, always kind-looking, even as the cancer slowly took her strength. "She was in pain," Thandil said quietly, "especially the last 5 years, but she never complained. She said she had lived a good life, a meaningful life. She said she had invested wisely." Elon looked at the photos through tears. "I would have given anything to help her, if I had known." "She didn't want you to know," Thandil interrupted gently. "She was afraid you would blame yourself, that you would carry guilt. She wanted you to fly free, to build, to create, without the weight of her sacrifice holding you back. But I'm carrying it now anyway." "No," Thandil said firmly. "You're not carrying guilt, you're carrying love. There's a difference. Guilt weighs you down, love lifts you up. My grandmother's sacrifice was love. Let it lift you, let it inspire you, don't let it crush you." Elon thought about those words. Guilt versus love. He had carried guilt about Thandil for 35 years. The guilt of not being able to save her. The guilt of being too young, too poor, too powerless. But maybe Thandil was right. Maybe it wasn't guilt he should carry. Maybe it was love. Love that drives action. Love that inspires change. Love that keeps promises. On the 3rd day, Thandil said she had something else to show him. Something important. Something her grandmother had left specifically for Elon. "She kept journals," Thandil explained. "From all those years, she wrote about your conversations in the library, about her hopes for you, about why she believed in you. She asked me to give them to you if I ever found you." Elon's heart raced. Journals from back then. "Yes, would you like to read them?" "More than anything." That afternoon, Thandil brought out 3 old notebooks. They were similar to the leather notebook Lilian had given Elon. Worn, loved, full of handwritten words in Lilian's neat script. Elon held them carefully, like they were made of precious jewels. In a way, they were. These journals held Lilian's thoughts, her inner world, her perspective on their friendship. "Take your time," Tandu said. "Read them here, I'll make tea." Elon opened the first journal. It was dated 1986, the year they met. He found the entry from the day she discovered him at the bottom of the stairs. March 1986. "Today I found a boy hurt at school," she wrote. "His name is Elon, 12 years old, small and thin and scared. The other children are cruel to him. They pushed him down the stairs. He could have died. But when I sat with him, when I read to him, I saw something extraordinary. His eyes lit up when I talked about space, about rockets, about impossible dreams. He's brilliant, truly brilliant, but more than that, he's kind. He has a good heart. I've been praying for a sign, for something to give my life meaning again after losing my first daughter. Maybe this is it. Maybe this boy is my sign. Maybe I'm meant to help him, to believe in him, to give him the support he needs to become who he's meant to be. I don't know where this feeling comes from, but I know it's true. This boy will change the world, and I'm going to help him do it." Elon's vision blurred. She had known from day one, from the very first moment. She had seen his potential, believed in his future, chosen to invest in him. He kept reading, entry after entry, weeks of lunches in the library, conversations about science and dreams, her growing affection for this lonely boy. Then he found an entry from June 1987, the one that would break his heart all over again. "The doctor confirmed it today," she wrote. "Breast cancer, stage 2. If I start treatment now, I have a good chance. Maybe 70% survival rate, but treatment costs 600 rands, that's all we have saved. Our emergency fund for Tandu, for David, for our future. But then I think about Elon, about his brilliant mind trapped in circumstances that will crush it, about his potential being wasted because no one believes in him, because no one supports him. I've been praying about this, and I feel God telling me something. I can save myself, or I can save Elon's future. Both are valuable, both are important, but one will impact just me. The other will impact the world. Elon is going to do something extraordinary. I know it in my soul, but he needs help. He needs books he can't afford. He needs library access the school wants to revoke. He needs support, encouragement, resources. If I use the 600 rands for treatment, maybe I live. Maybe I die anyway. Cancer is unpredictable. But if I use it for Elon, I know exactly what happens. I give a brilliant boy the chance to change the world. David will be angry if he finds out, but I'm not telling him. This is my choice, my decision, my investment in the future. I choose Elon. I choose hope. I choose to believe that one extraordinary person can make a bigger difference than one ordinary person like me ever could. If I die from this cancer, it won't be a tragedy. It will be an investment. The best investment I ever made. Elon couldn't breathe. He read the entry again and again. Each word cut into his heart. She had known the cost. She had chosen anyway, not out of ignorance, not out of accident. She had deliberately, consciously decided to sacrifice her life for his potential. "No," he whispered. "Lily, no, you were extraordinary. You were everything. How could you think you were ordinary?" He understood. That was Lilian, humble, selfless, always seeing others as more important than herself. He kept reading through the journals over months and years. Entries about watching him grow, about their conversations, about her pride as he learned to code, about her hope for his future. Then he found the entry from August 1988, after Tandu died, after she said goodbye to Elon before moving to Cape Town. "Today I said goodbye to Elon," she wrote. "He's leaving South Africa soon. Going to Canada, chasing his dreams. Part of me is sad. I'll miss our talks, our friendship, but mostly I'm proud, so proud." He gave Tandu every rand he earned from his game, everything. A 12-year-old boy giving his entire fortune to try to save a child he never met. That's the kind of person Elon is. That's why I invested in him. Tandu died. That breaks my heart. But Elon's kindness, his desperate attempt to help, that gives me hope. If someone so young can care so deeply, then maybe the world isn't as broken as it seems. I made him promise to change the world. To make sure other children don't die like Tandu, he promised, and I believe him. Elon keeps his promises. My cancer is spreading. I didn't tell him. I won't tell him. He would blame himself. He would carry guilt. I don't want that for him. I want him free. Free to build, free to dream, free to become the man I know he can be. If I die from this cancer, my last thought will be this. I invested 600 rands in a boy who will save the world. That's not a loss. That's a victory. Elon set down the journal. He couldn't read anymore. Not right now. The emotions were too big, too overwhelming. Tandu came back with tea. She saw his face. "Are you okay?" She knew, Elon said. His voice was hollow. She knew she was dying. She chose it anyway. She chose me over herself. Yes. Why would anyone do that? Tandil sat down beside him. Because she loved you, because she believed in you, because she saw something in you worth dying for. Not many people get that kind of love, Elon. Most people go their whole lives without someone believing in them that much. You were blessed. She was your blessing. I don't deserve it. None of us deserve the love we receive, but we honor it, we live up to it, we let it make us better. That's what you've done. That's what you're still doing. Elon picked up the third journal, the most recent one. It started in 2000 and went all the way to 2022. The final entry was dated November 2022, just weeks before Lilian died. He opened to the last entry, his hands shook. Today I saw another article about the Lilly Foundation, she wrote. Her handwriting was shaky now, weak, but still readable. Another child saved, another heart surgery paid for, another life given a chance. I know it's Elon's foundation. I figured it out years ago. The name, the focus on children's hearts, the work in South Africa, it's his way of keeping his promise, his way of honoring Tandil, his way of thanking me though he doesn't know I know. My dear Elon, my brilliant boy, look what you've become. Look what you've built, rockets to space, cars that don't pollute, companies worth billions, and quietly, secretly, foundations that save children's lives. I'm dying now. The cancer is finally winning, but I'm not sad. How can I be sad when I see what my 600 rands became? I invested in one boy, and that boy is saving thousands, maybe millions when you count all the people who will benefit from clean energy and space exploration. 600 rands became billions of rands of impact. That's the best investment return anyone could ever ask for. Elon, if you're reading this, know that I'm proud. So proud. You kept your promise, every part of it. You became everything I knew you could be, and more. Don't blame yourself for not saving Tandil. You were 12. You tried with everything you had. That's all anyone can do. Don't blame yourself for my cancer. You didn't know I chose to keep it secret. I chose to invest in you instead of treating it, and I'd make the same choice again. 1,000,000 times over. My life had meaning because of you. My sacrifice mattered because of you. My death won't be a tragedy because of you. You are my legacy. The children you save are my legacy. Future you're building is my legacy. I love you, Elon. I always have. You were the sun I never had, the bright light in my darkest days. The proof that goodness still exists in this world. Keep your promise, keep building, keep saving lives, and know that I'm proud of you always. Don't carry guilt, carry love. Let my sacrifice lift you up, not weigh you down. You didn't fail to save Tandil. You saved thousands of Tandils. That's not failure. That's the most beautiful success. Thank you for being you. Thank you for keeping your promises. Thank you for changing the world. All my love, Lily. Elon closed the journal. He sat in silence for a long time. Tandil sat beside him, not speaking, just being there. Finally, Elon spoke. She never blamed me, not once. She saw only the good, only the success, only the promise kept. That's who she was, Tandil said softly. I've spent 35 years carrying guilt, thinking I failed her, thinking I wasn't good enough, but she never saw it that way. She only saw love and success and promise. Yes, I need to let go of the guilt. I need to carry love instead. That's what she wanted. That's what she wanted, Tandil agreed. Elon stood up. He walked to the window. Cape Town stretched out before him. Mountains, ocean, city, millions of people living their lives, some of them alive because of the Lilly Foundation, because of Elon's work, because of Lilian's sacrifice. I'm going to make this bigger, Elon said. Everything, the foundation, the learning centers, the scholarships, the medical care. I'm going to multiply Lilian's investment 1,000,000 times over, 1,000,000,000 times. Until every child who needs help gets help. Until her sacrifice saves so many lives that the numbers become impossible to count. That's a big promise, Tandil said. Elon turned around. He smiled through his tears. I keep my promises. Lilian taught me that. Yes, she did. Will you help me? Elon asked. Will you work with me? Help me build these centers. Help me honor your grandmother's legacy. Tandil smiled. I would be honored. My grandmother believed in you. Now I believe in you too. Let's change the world together, the way she knew you would. Elon walked back and hugged Tandil. Thank you for finding me, for telling me the truth, for giving me these journals. You've given me closure and purpose, and a way to finally let go of the guilt I've carried for so long. She would be happy, Tandil said. So happy. They stood there holding each other. Two people connected by a woman who had seen the future and bet everything on it. A woman who had loved without expecting anything in return. A woman whose sacrifice had changed millions of lives. Lilian Ndilavu, teacher, believer, visionary. The woman who saved Elon Musk. The woman who changed the world by believing in one lonely boy. Her story would finally be told. Her sacrifice would finally be honored. Her legacy would finally be recognized. And Elon would make sure of it. The next morning, Elon woke up early. He had barely slept. His mind raced with ideas, plans, ways to honor Lilian's memory, ways to multiply her sacrifice into something extraordinary. He met Tandil for breakfast at a small cafe near the Lilian Ndilavu Center. "I've been thinking all night," Elon said. His eyes were bright despite the lack of sleep. "I want to do something unprecedented. Something that honors your grandmother in a way the world will remember." "What do you have in mind?" Tandil asked. "Project Lilian," Elon said. "A massive global initiative, the biggest philanthropic commitment I've ever made. I want to announce it publicly. Tell the world about your grandmother, about what she did, about why it matters." Tandil looked uncertain. "My grandmother was a private person. She never wanted attention." "I know, but her story needs to be told. Not for her ego, she never had one, but because people need to hear it. They need to know that one person's belief can change everything. They need to understand the power of sacrifice, the power of seeing potential in others." Elon pulled out his phone. He showed Tandil a document he'd been working on all night. Plans, numbers, commitments. "Project Lilian will have several parts," he explained. "First, medical care. I'm committing $1 billion to free pediatric cardiac care worldwide, not just South Africa, everywhere. Every child who needs heart surgery will get it. Free. No questions asked. No family turned away because they can't pay." Tandil's eyes widened. $1 billion. "It's not enough," Elon said, "but it's a start. The foundation will partner with hospitals globally, train doctors, buy equipment, build cardiac centers, will save tens of thousands of lives every year." "That's incredible." Second, education. "I'm building 20 Lilian Ndilavu learning centers across Africa, Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, Ethiopia, Uganda, all over. Each center will serve 1,000 students. That's 20,000 young people learning science, technology, engineering, math, learning to code, learning to build, learning to dream." Elon's voice grew more passionate as he talked. "But here's the important part. We're not just teaching them facts. We're teaching them what your grandmother taught me, that they matter, that they're valuable, that their dreams are possible, that someone believes in them." "She would love that," Tandil said softly. Third, scholarships. The Lilian Ndilavu Scholarship Program. Full rides to top universities worldwide for students from disadvantaged backgrounds. Not just African students. Students everywhere who have talent but no opportunity. Students like your grandmother who wanted to be an engineer but couldn't afford university. We'll give 1,000 scholarships every year. Forever." "How much is that?" "Another $1 billion to establish the endowment. Maybe more, but money isn't the point. Lives are the point. Potential is the point. Your grandmother used 600 rands to unlock one person's potential. I'm going to use billions to unlock thousands of people's potential. It's the same principle, just multiplied." Tandil wiped tears from her eyes. "This is beautiful, Elon, but why announce it publicly? Why not just do it quietly like you've been doing?" Elon leaned forward. His expression was serious, intense. "Because people need to hear about your grandmother, not about me, about her. About what one teacher with no money and no power accomplished by believing in one boy. That story will inspire others. It will make people look at the children around them differently. Make them wonder, which child am I overlooking? Which potential am I missing? Who could I believe in?" He continued, "Your grandmother's story proves that you don't need billions of dollars to change the world. You just need to believe in someone. Really believe. Be willing to sacrifice for that belief. That's what changes everything." Tandil nodded slowly. "You're right. Her story should be told, not for pride, but for inspiration." "Exactly," Elon said. "And there's one more part to Project Lilian, the most important part." What's that? I'm writing a book or funding someone to write it. The true story of how your grandmother changed my life, how she saved me, how her sacrifice made everything possible. All proceeds go to the foundation. But more importantly, millions of people will read it. They'll learn about Lilian and Lavu. They'll understand that the most important people in history aren't always the ones with their names in headlines. Sometimes they're teachers in small libraries, mothers making impossible choices, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Tandu was crying now. When do you want to announce this? Soon, Elon said. But first I need your permission. This is your grandmother's story too, your family's story. I won't tell it without your blessing. Tandu thought for a moment, then she smiled through her tears. My grandmother once told me something. She said, if you have a light, don't hide it under a basket. Let it shine so others can find their way. Her story is a light. Let it shine. Thank you, Elon said. Thank you for trusting me with this. 2 weeks later, Elon held a press conference. Not at SpaceX headquarters, not at Tesla, at the original Lilian and Lavu Learning Center in Cape Town. The place where it all came full circle. Reporters from around the world attended, cameras, microphones, everyone wondering why Elon Musk had called a press conference in South Africa. Tandu stood beside him on stage, nervous but proud. Elon stepped to the microphone. He looked different than usual, softer, more emotional, less like a CEO and more like a human being with a story to tell. Thank you for coming, he began. Today I'm not here to talk about SpaceX or Tesla. I'm here to talk about someone far more important than me, someone who changed my life, someone the world should know about. He paused, took a breath. Her name was Lilian and Lavu, and she saved my life when I was 12 years old. For the next 30 minutes, Elon told the story, all of it. The bullying, the library, the friendship, Tandu's death, the promise, Lilian's cancer, her sacrifice, her 600 rands that became billions of dollars of impact. He didn't hide his emotions. He cried openly. His voice broke multiple times, but he kept talking because this story needed to be told. Lilian and Lavu gave up her life so I could have a future, Elon said. She bet everything on a lonely 12-year-old boy. She believed in me when no one else did. She saw potential in me that I couldn't see in myself, and her belief, her sacrifice, made everything possible. He gestured to the building behind him. This center stands because Lilian believed in education, in opportunity, in human potential. Every child who learns here is learning because 37 years ago, one woman chose to invest in one boy. Elon then announced Project Lilian, the $1 billion for pediatric cardiac care. The 20 learning centers, the scholarship program, the book, all of it. This isn't charity, Elon said firmly. This is multiplication. Lilian invested 600 rands in me. I'm investing billions in the next generation. Someday, one of these children will invest in someone else, and it will multiply again and again. That's how we change the world, not through one person, through chains of belief, through investments in potential, through sacrifice that ripples forward forever. He looked directly at the cameras. I'm telling this story because I want everyone watching to ask themselves a question. Who can you believe in? Which child needs your support? Which potential are you overlooking? You don't need billions of dollars. Lilian had 600 rands. What she had was belief, vision, courage. Anyone can have those things. Elon's voice grew stronger. If you're a teacher, look at your students differently. One of them might be the next person to change the world. Believe in them. Support them. Invest in them. If you're a parent, encourage your children's dreams no matter how impossible they seem. If you're anyone with any resources, time, money, attention, find someone to believe in. Really believe in them. The way Lilian believed in me. He wiped his eyes. Lilian and Lavu died in December 2022. She never got the recognition she deserved. She never asked for it, but I'm giving it to her now. Because the world needs to know that behind every successful person is usually someone who believed in them first, an unsung hero, a quiet supporter, a person who sacrificed so someone else could soar. Elon turned to Tandu. This is Lilian's granddaughter, Tandu and Lavu. She's a teacher just like her grandmother. She works here at this center, believing in children the way her grandmother believed in me. The cycle continues. The investment multiplies. Tandu stepped forward. Her voice shook, but she spoke clearly. My grandmother used to say, the measure of a life isn't how long you live, it's how many lives you touch. She lived 74 years. But through Elon, through the children he saved, through the future he's building, she's touched millions of lives. That's a life well lived. That's a legacy that will last forever. The press conference ended, but the story was just beginning. Within hours, the story went viral. News outlets everywhere picked it up. Billionaire credits poor teacher for his success. The woman who sacrificed everything for Elon Musk. The most beautiful love story, how Lilian and Lavu changed the world. Social media exploded. People shared the story. Teachers posted about students they believed in. Parents talked about encouraging their children's dreams. Random people committed to believing in someone, to investing in potential, to being someone's Lilian. The hashtag #BeLikeLilian trended worldwide. Project Lilian, believe in someone. Donations poured into the Lily Foundation, not just from billionaires, from ordinary people. Teachers donating $20, students donating $5, people everywhere wanting to be part of multiplying Lilian's legacy. Within a week, Project Lilian had raised an additional $200 million from donors worldwide. People who had never heard of Lilian and Lavu were now inspired by her story, by her sacrifice, by her belief in human potential. Elon watched it happen with wonder. This was bigger than he'd imagined. Lilian's story had touched something deep in people. The longing to matter, the desire to make a difference, the hope that ordinary people can do extraordinary things. She's inspiring people even after death, Tandio said. They were watching news coverage together. That's powerful. That's love, Elon replied. Real love always multiplies, it never diminishes. Your grandmother's love for me has multiplied into billions of people being inspired to love others better, to believe in others more, to invest in potential wherever they find it. Over the next months, Project Lilian launched. The first new learning center opened in Nairobi, Kenya, then Lagos, Nigeria, then Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Each one welcomed with celebration, each one filled with children eager to learn, eager to dream, eager to become. The scholarship program accepted its first 1,000 students, young people from townships, villages, struggling families, all of them brilliant, all of them previously without opportunity. Now they were going to MIT, Stanford, Cambridge, Oxford, studying engineering, medicine, science, technology. Each scholarship recipient received a letter explaining the program, explaining Lilian's story, explaining that someone believed in them the way Lilian believed in Elon. You are here because someone saw your potential, the letter said. Now you must see potential in others. Pass the investment forward. Multiply the belief. That's how we honor Lilian and Lavu's legacy. The cardiac care program saved its first 100 lives within 2 months, then 500, then 1,000. Children across Africa, Asia, South America, children who would have died. Now they were alive, playing, growing, dreaming. Each family received a card with Lilian's photograph. This child is alive because of Lilian and Lavu's sacrifice, the card read. She believed in one boy and that belief saved your child. Pass the love forward. Elon visited as many centers as he could. He talked to students, encouraged them, told them about Lilian, about promises, about keeping those promises no matter what. My friend believed I would change the world, he told a group of students in Lagos. She sacrificed her life to give me that chance. Now I believe in you, all of you. You will change the world too, different ways than me maybe, but just as important, keep your promises, believe in others, multiply the love. The students listened with bright eyes, hopeful faces. They understood. They were part of something bigger than themselves, part of a chain of belief stretching back to a library in Pretoria in 1986, forward into a future they would build. 1 year after the press conference, Elon returned to Cape Town, to Lilian's grave. He came alone this time, just him and the memory of his friend. He knelt beside the headstone. It looked the same as before, simple, humble, just like Lilian. But now, next to her grave, there was a small plaque. Tandio had installed it. It read, "In memory of Lilian and Lavu, teacher, believer, world changer, her 600 Rand investment in one boy saved millions of lives. She proved that ordinary people can do extraordinary things through the power of belief. The measure of a life isn't how long you live, it's how many lives you touch." She touched the world. Elon read the plaque through tears. Then he spoke to Lilian, like always, like he had for 37 years. Hi Lily, it's been a year since I found out the truth about the cancer, about your sacrifice, about everything. I still can't believe you did that. I still can't believe you chose me over yourself, but I'm trying to honor that choice. Project Lilian is growing, 20 centers now, thousands of children learning, thousands of lives saved through cardiac care, thousands of students getting scholarships. Your 600 rands has multiplied into billions. But more than money, your belief has multiplied into millions of people believing in each other. Teachers believing in students, parents believing in children, strangers believing in strangers. That's your real legacy, not the money, the belief. I kept my promise, Lily. I made electric cars. I built rockets. I'm saving children. I'm changing the world. But none of it would have happened without you. You saved me first. You believed in me first. You sacrificed for me first. Everything I've accomplished is because of you, everything, and now millions of people know your name, know your story, know what you did. You're not forgotten, you never will be. I made sure of that. I love you, Lily, I always will. Thank you for everything. Thank you for believing in a lonely, bullied boy. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your love. Your promise is kept. Forever. Elon. Stayed there for a long time, just sitting, remembering, feeling grateful. The sun set over Cape Town. Orange and pink and purple spreading across the sky. Beautiful, like hope, like love, like the future Lilian had believed in. And in that moment, Elon felt peace, real peace. For the first time in 37 years, the guilt was gone. Only love remained. Love that lifted him. Love that inspired him. Love that would keep multiplying forever. That's what Lilian had given him, not just money. Not just support, but love. The kind of love that changes everything. And that love would ripple forward through time, touching lives that hadn't even been born yet. Inspiring people who would never meet Lilian but would know her story. Changing the world one believed in person at a time. That was the promise. That was the legacy. That was the most beautiful love story. And it would never end. As Elon stood from Lilian's grave, he noticed someone standing near the cemetery entrance. A young woman. She looked about 20 years old. She was watching him quietly. Elon walked toward the exit. As he got closer, the young woman stepped forward. "Mr. Musk," she said nervously, "I'm sorry to bother you. I know this is a private moment." "It's okay," Elon said gently. "How can I help you?" The woman took a deep breath. "My name is Namvula. I'm from Pretoria. I came to Cape Town to meet you. I've been waiting here for 2 days, hoping you would visit." "Waiting for me? Why?" Namvula pulled out a small photograph from her bag. It showed a little girl, maybe 5 years old, lying in a hospital bed. She was smiling despite the tubes and wires. "This is my daughter, Anda," Namvula said. "She has a heart condition, the same one that killed Tandu and Dilavu all those years ago. We had no money for surgery. We were told she would die." Elon's chest tightened, had past tense. Namvula's eyes filled with tears, happy tears. "The Lilly Foundation paid for her surgery 3 months ago. She's alive, Mr. Musk. She's healthy. She's home. She gets to grow up now because of you, because of Lilian and Dilavu." Elon felt emotion rising in his throat. "I'm so glad she's okay." "But that's not why I came," Namvula continued. "I came to tell you something, to make you a promise." "A promise?" "Yes, you see, I'm studying to be a teacher. I'm in my 3rd year at university. A Lilian and Dilavu scholarship is paying for my education. I was going to quit school when Anda got sick. I needed to work to try to earn money for her surgery. But the foundation paid for the surgery and kept my scholarship active. They saved my daughter and saved my dream." Namvula's voice grew stronger. "So I want to make you a promise, Mr. Musk, the same promise Lilian made. When I become a teacher, I'm going to look for the lonely kids, the bullied kids, the ones everyone overlooks, and I'm going to believe in them, really believe in them. I'm going to invest in their potential the way Lilian invested in you. I'm going to be someone's Lilian." Elon's vision blurred. "That's beautiful." "Anda is alive because Lilian believed in you 37 years ago," Namvula said. "Because she sacrificed for you, because she saw your potential. Now I'm going to pass that forward. I'm going to find my Elon. And maybe that person will save hundreds of lives, or thousands. And it all traces back to Lilian and Dilavu, to her 600 rands, to her belief. The investment keeps multiplying forever." Elon pulled Namvula into a hug. They both cried. Two strangers connected by a chain of belief stretching back decades. Connected by love that multiplied. connected by a woman who had changed the world by believing in one boy. "Thank you," Elon whispered. "Thank you for telling me. Thank you for keeping the promise alive." "No," Namvula said. "Thank you, you saved my daughter. You're saving thousands of daughters. You kept your promise to Lilian. Now I'll keep mine to you." They stood there for a moment. Then Namvula showed Elon another photograph. This one showed young Anda at home, playing with toys, laughing, alive, healthy, full of future. "She wants to be an astronaut," Namvula said with a smile. "She talks about Mars all the time, about SpaceX, about following in your footsteps." Elon laughed through his tears. "Tell her to dream big. Tell her someone believes in her. Tell her to keep her promises when she grows up." "I will," Namvula said. "I promise." She walked away, leaving Elon standing at the cemetery gate. He watched her go, feeling something profound. This was it. This was the point of everything, not the money, not the fame, not even the rockets or the cars. This, the multiplication of belief, the chain of promises, the ripple effect of one person's sacrifice touching lives across generations. Lilian had believed in Elon. Elon had saved Anda. Namvula would believe in another child. That child would change more lives, on and on, forever. That was immortality, that was legacy, that was love. Elon flew back to California the next day, but his mind stayed in South Africa, stayed with Lilian, stayed with the promise, stayed with the understanding that everything was connected. At his office in SpaceX headquarters, he sat at his desk, the same desk where Lilian's photograph and notebook had lived for decades. He opened the notebook one more time, turned to the last page. The page where he had written during the darkest days of 2008. Below his old entry, he wrote something new. February 2024. "Lily, I met a woman today at your grave. Her name is Namvula. You saved her daughter, through me, yes, but really through you, through your belief, through your sacrifice. She's going to be a teacher. She's going to find her own Elon. Someone lonely, someone bullet, someone everyone else overlooks. And she's going to believe in them the way you believed in me." That's when I finally understood. The promise isn't just about what I do. It's about starting a chain reaction. Your 600 rands didn't just change my life. It changed Anda's life. It will change the life of whoever Namvula believes in, and on, forever. You didn't just invest in me. You invested in humanity's future. You started something that will never end. I used to think keeping my promise meant building companies and saving lives, and it does mean that. But it means something bigger too. It means inspiring others to make their own promises, to believe in their own Elons, to start their own chains of belief. That's what Project Lilian really is, not just my work, but millions of people inspired to believe in each other, to sacrifice for each other, to invest in potential wherever they find it. You were one woman, one teacher, one believer, but through belief you became millions. That's the real miracle. I kept my promise, but now I see it's not about keeping it once. It's about keeping it forever. About making sure your legacy multiplies through time. About ensuring that 100 years from now, 1,000 years from now, people are still believing in each other because of what you started. That's my new promise. Not just to save lives, but to create a world where everyone is someone's Lilian, where everyone believes in someone, where everyone sacrifices for potential, where everyone passes the investment forward. A world where no one is overlooked, where every lonely child finds a believer, where every dream gets support, where every potential gets a chance. That's the world you envisioned when you invested in me. That's the world I'm building in your honor. Thank you, Lily, for everything, for always. Your promise is kept, and it will keep being kept, forever. All my love, Elon. He closed the notebook, set it back on his desk next to Lilian's photograph. Both of them would stay there forever. Reminders, anchors, promises. His phone buzzed, a message from Tandu. The 21st Learning Center just opened in Accra, Ghana. 1,000 more students, all of them learning, all of them dreaming, all of them believing they can change the world. Grandmother would be so proud. I'm proud too. Thank you for everything, Elon. Elon smiled. He typed back, "Your grandmother started this. I'm just continuing her work. Thank you for trusting me with her story. Thank you for keeping the promise alive." Another message came in. This one from a program director at the Lilly Foundation. Update. We've now funded 5,427 pediatric cardiac surgeries. 5,427 children alive who would have died. The number grows every day. Lilian's legacy grows every day. 5,427. Each one a life, a future, a potential. Each one a ripple in the pond that Lilian had created with her 600 rands and her belief. Elon thought about Tandu, the first Tandu, the one who died. She would be 39 years old now if she had lived. Maybe she would have been a mother, maybe a teacher, maybe an engineer. She didn't get those chances. But through her death, through the promise it inspired, thousands of other children got their chances, got to live. To dream, got to become. That was the tragedy transformed into triumph, the loss transformed into legacy, the broken promise transformed into thousands of kept promises. 6 months later, Elon received an invitation. It came from Pretoria, South Africa, from his old school, Bryanston High School. They were dedicating a new library, and they wanted to name it after someone special. Elon flew to South Africa. When he arrived at the school, he saw a crowd gathered outside, students, teachers, community members, and standing at the front, Tandu. "Surprise," she said with a smile. "I helped organize this. I thought you should be here." The principal, a woman named Dr. Cumulo, stepped forward. "Mr. Musk, thank you for coming. Today we're dedicating our new library. Thanks to a generous donation from the Lilly Foundation, we've completely rebuilt and expanded it. New books, new computers, new spaces for students to learn and dream." She gestured to the building. Above the entrance was a covered sign. "This library," Dr. Cumulo continued, "will honor two people whose friendship in this very building changed the world. Two people who proved that belief, sacrifice, and love can transform everything." She pulled a rope. The cover fell away. The sign read, "The Lilian Ndlovu and Elon Musk Library of Possibilities." Elon stared at it, his name next to Lilian's, where it belonged, where it had always belonged. "We researched the history," Dr. Cumulo said. "We found records of your time here. We found records of Miss Ndlovu working here. We pieced together the story about your friendship, about her belief in you, about the promises made in the old library building." She turned to the students watching. "This library honors a teacher who saw potential in a bullied boy, and a student who kept his promise to that teacher. It honors belief, sacrifice, love, and the power of one person to change another person's life forever." A student stepped forward. A young girl, maybe 12 years old. She looked nervous. "Mr. Musk," she said quietly, "my name is Lebohang. I get bullied at school. Kids call me weird. They say I'm too smart, too different, too quiet. I eat lunch alone in the library every day just like you used to." Elon's heart broke. This was him, 37 years later, another lonely child, another overlooked potential. "But I heard your story," Lebohang continued. Her voice grew stronger. "About Miss Lilian, about how she believed in you, about how you kept your promise, and it gave me hope. It made me think maybe I'm not weird, maybe I'm just different, maybe being different is okay. Maybe someone will believe in me too." She held out a notebook. "I want to give you this. I write in it about my dreams, about wanting to be a scientist, about wanting to study the stars. I want you to have it, because you believed in Miss Lilian's belief, and now I believe in that belief too. I'm going to keep my promises just like you kept yours." Elon took the notebook. His hands shook. This was Lilian's notebook all over again, the cycle repeating, the promise passing forward. "Lebohang," Elon said. He knelt down so he was at her level. "You are not weird, you are extraordinary. Being different is exactly what the world needs. I was different. Miss Lilian saw that difference and called it beautiful. I see your difference and I call it beautiful too." He pulled out his phone. "I'm giving you my personal email address. I want you to write to me. Tell me about your dreams, your ideas, your challenges. I will respond, I promise. And when you're ready for university, the Lilian Ndlovu Scholarship will be there for you. Someone believed in me. Now I believe in you." Lebohang started crying. Happy tears, hopeful tears. Elon hugged her. "Dream big, study hard, keep your promises. And one day when you're successful, find your own Lebohang. Believe in them, pass it forward. That's how we honor Miss Lilian, not by remembering her, by being like her." The crowd applauded, students cheered. And in that moment, Elon felt it. The circle closing, the promise multiplying, the love rippling forward. He was standing in the same school where it all began, where a lonely 12-year-old boy met a kind teacher, where promises were made, where futures were changed. Now, 37 years later, another lonely child was finding hope. Another promise was being made. Another future was being changed. The circle was closing, but also opening. Because every ending was a new beginning. Every kept promise inspired new promises. Every believed-in person became a believer in someone else. That was Lilian's true gift, not just believing in Elon, but showing him how to believe in others, teaching him that the greatest thing you can give another person is belief, real, sacrificial, transformative belief. That night, Elon sat in his hotel room in Pretoria. He looked out the window at the city of his childhood. The city where he'd been broken and then saved. The city where everything began. He opened Lebohang's notebook, read her dreams, her plans to study astrophysics, her designs for new telescopes, her questions about the universe. She was brilliant, just like he had been, overlooked, just like he had been, lonely, just like he had been. But now she had someone who believed in her, just like he had found someone who believed in him. Elon wrote an email to his foundation directors. I met a student today named Lebohang. She's our next investment. Make sure she has everything she needs. Books, tutoring, mentorship, access to scientists, whatever it takes. She's going to change the world. I believe it the way Lilian believed in me. Also, I want to expand the scholarship program, double it. 2,000 scholarships per year instead of 1,000. More Lebohangs out there, more lonely kids, more overlooked potential. We need to find them all. Believe in them all. Give them all a chance. Money is not the limiting factor. Belief is the limiting factor, so let's multiply the belief. Let's find every brilliant, weird, lonely, different kid and tell them they're extraordinary. Tell them someone believes in them. Tell them they can change the world. That's the promise. That's always been the promise. Elon. He sent the email. Then he opened Lilian's old notebook one more time, turned to the first page, read her words for the 1,000th time. For Elon, who will change the world, remember your promise. Below it in his 12-year-old handwriting, I promise, I will never forget, I will make you proud. He had kept that promise for 37 years, through failure and success, through poverty and wealth, through doubt and certainty, he had kept it, and now the promise was multiplying. Namvula would keep it, Lebohang would keep it, thousands of students in learning centers would keep it, thousands of scholarship recipients would keep it, millions of people inspired by Lilian's story would keep it. The promise would outlive Elon, just as it had outlived Lilian. It would ripple forward through time, touching lives not yet born, solving problems not yet imagined, creating futures not yet dreamed. That was the most beautiful love story. Not romance, not fame, not wealth, but belief, sacrifice, promise, love that multiplies forever. Lilian Ndilavu had given 600 rands in her life to one boy. That boy had given billions of dollars and his life's work to thousands of children. Those children would give their talents and achievements to millions more. On and on, forever. One woman, one belief, one sacrifice, changed the world. That was the promise kept. That was the legacy fulfilled. That was the circle that never closes because it keeps expanding wider and wider, touching more and more lives, multiplying love until the whole world is transformed. And it all began in a library in Pretoria, South Africa in 1986 when a kind teacher decided to believe in a lonely boy. The most beautiful love story you will see today. The love that changed everything. The love that never ends. SpaceX Starbase, Texas. April 2029. Elon Musk stood in the Mission Control Center watching the largest screen in the room. He was 58 years old now. His hair had more gray. His face showed more lines. But his eyes still burned with the same intensity they'd had at 12 years old. On the screen, a massive Starship rocket sat on the launch pad. But this wasn't just any launch. This was the first crewed mission to Mars. The mission that would make humanity a multi-planet species. The mission Elon had dreamed about since he was a boy reading science fiction in a library in Pretoria. The mission was called Lilian's Promise. Inside the spacecraft were 6 astronauts, scientists, engineers, explorers, people who would spend 2 years traveling to Mars, establishing the first permanent settlement and returning home. But among those 6 astronauts was someone special, someone Elon had insisted must be on this historic flight, Dr. Anda Zulu. The little girl Namvula had shown him in that photograph 5 years ago, the child saved by the Lilly Foundation when she was 5 years old. Now she was 10 years old. Wait, no. Elon did the math again. If she was 5 in 2024, she would be. No, that wasn't right either. Actually, Elon realized he was thinking of the wrong person. Ayanda was still a child, still growing up, still dreaming of becoming an astronaut someday. But there was someone else on this mission, someone whose story connected directly to Lilian's legacy. Mission Specialist, Dr. Tandu Ndilavu, not the granddaughter. Not the first Tandu who had died, but a distant cousin, a young woman 28 years old who had grown up hearing stories about her famous relative Lilian, who had received a Lilian Ndilavu scholarship, who had studied aerospace engineering at MIT, who had joined SpaceX 5 years ago, and who was now going to Mars. Elon had insisted she be part of this crew, not just because of her skills, though she was brilliant, but because of what she represented. The multiplication of Lilian's investment, the promise rippling forward. Lilian had invested in one boy who dreamed of Mars. Now, 37 years later, that boy was sending Lilian's own family member to Mars. The circle wasn't just closing, it was spiraling upward into space itself. T-minus 2 minutes, the launch director announced. Elon's heart pounded. This was it. Everything he'd worked for, everything he'd promised. He thought about Lilian, wished she could see this. Wished she knew that her 600 rands had literally reached another planet. His phone buzzed. A text from Tandu Ndilavu, the granddaughter, the teacher still in Cape Town. I'm watching from the Lilian Ndilavu Learning Center with 1,000 students. We're all cheering. Grandmother would be so proud. You kept your promise, Elon. You're taking us to the stars. Thank you for including our family in this historic moment. Love always. Elon typed back quickly. Lilian is going to Mars with us. In spirit, in legacy, in the dreams she believed in. This is her victory as much as mine. T-minus 1 minute. The room fell silent. Everyone watched, waited, held their breath. Elon closed his eyes for a moment. In his mind, he was back in that library, 12 years old, broken, scared, alone. And then he heard her voice, Lilian's voice, soft and kind. You're going to do something that changes everything. And when you do, promise me you'll remember where you came from. I remember, Lily, Elon whispered. I never forgot, not for one day. T-minus 10 seconds. The countdown began. The crowd and mission control joined in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. The rocket's engines roared to life. Flames erupted, the ground shook. And slowly, impossibly, the massive starship began to rise, up through the clouds into the sky toward space, toward Mars, toward the future Lilian had believed was possible. Elon watched with tears streaming down his face, not tears of sadness, tears of completion, of promise kept, of love multiplied across time and space. We're going to Mars, Lily, he said, just like I promised, just like you believed I would. The rocket climbed higher, faster, a pillar of fire and hope rising into the heavens. In Cape Town, 1,000 students cheered. In Lagos, 1,000 students cheered. In Nairobi, 1,000 students cheered. In 21 Lilian Ndilavu learning centers across Africa, over 20,000 young people watched humanity take its first real step toward becoming a multi-planet species. And they understood that they were part of this, part of the legacy, part of the promise. Because one teacher had believed in one boy, and that belief had changed everything. 6 months later, Lilian Ndilavu Medical Center, Cape Town. Dr. Namvula Zulu walked through the pediatric cardiac ward. She wasn't just a teacher anymore. She had gone back to school, inspired by her daughter's medical experience. Now she was a pediatric cardiologist, working at the very hospital that had saved Ayanda's life. She stopped at a small bed where a 5-year-old boy lay sleeping. His name was Saifo. He had just come out of heart surgery, successful surgery, life-saving surgery, free surgery paid for by the Lilly Foundation. His mother sat beside the bed, holding his hand. She looked exhausted but relieved. He's going to be okay, Namvula said gently. The surgery went perfectly. His heart is strong now. He's going to live a long, healthy life. The mother started crying. Thank you so much. We had no money. We thought we would lose him, but this place, this foundation, they saved him. They saved my son. Someone believed in someone a long time ago, Namvula said. And that belief saved your son. Now you must pass it forward. When Saifo grows up, teach him to believe in others. Teach him to help others. Teach him that love multiplies when we share it. The mother nodded through her tears. I will, I promise. Namvula smiled. Another promise made, another link in the chain. Another ripple in the pond that Lilian had created 43 years ago. She walked to her office and opened her computer. She had an email to write, an important one. "Dear Lebohang," she typed. "I heard you were accepted to MIT for astrophysics. Congratulations. Your Lilian N.D. Lovu scholarship will cover everything. But more importantly, I want you to know, I believe in you, the way Lilian believed in Elon. The way Elon believed in me and my daughter. Now I believe in you. Go to MIT, study the stars, keep your promises. And when you succeed, notice I said when, not if, find someone to believe in. Pass it forward. That's how we honor Lilian's legacy. Love, Dr. Namvula Zulu." She hit send. Then she smiled, the circle expanding, the love multiplying, the promise continuing, forever. Lilian N.D. Lovu Center for Advanced Learning, Pretoria. 2 years later, Lebohang stood in front of 500 students. She was 18 years old now, about to leave for MIT, about to start her journey to becoming an astrophysicist. But first, she wanted to tell her story. "When I was 12, she began, I was bullied. I was lonely. I ate lunch alone in the library every day. I thought something was wrong with me. I thought I was broken." The students listened. Some of them nodded. They understood. They had felt that way too. "But then I learned about Lilian N.D. Lovu," Lebohang continued. "I learned how she believed in a lonely boy named Elon Musk, how she sacrificed for him, how she saw potential in him when no one else did. And that story changed my life." She paused. "Because Mr. Musk found me. He believed in me. He gave me a scholarship. He told me I wasn't broken. He told me I was extraordinary. And because he believed in me, I started believing in myself." Lebohang pulled out a notebook, the same notebook she had given Elon 7 years ago. He had kept it all this time, and now he had given it back to her, filled with his notes and encouragement. "This notebook holds my dreams," she said, "but it also holds something more important. It holds promises. Lilian promised to believe in Elon. Elon promised to change the world. I'm promising to become a scientist and help humanity reach the stars. And someday, I'll find my own lonely kid, my own overlooked potential, and I'll believe in them." She looked at the students. "I'm telling you this because one of you might be that person. One of you might be the next person I believe in, or the next person Dr. Zulu believes in, or the next person anyone believes in. But here's the important part. You also need to be ready to believe in someone else. That's how the circle works. That's how love multiplies." A young boy in the front row raised his hand. "Miss Lebohang, what if no one believes in me? What if I'm alone?" Lebohang smiled. "Then you believe in yourself first. That's what these learning centers are for, to show you that you're valuable, you're important, you matter. And when you believe that, when you really understand that, then you can start believing in others too." She held up the notebook. "I'm taking this to MIT. I'm taking Lilian's legacy with me. And when I succeed, when not if, I'll come back. I'll find students just like me, just like Elon was, just like you might be, and I'll believe in them." The students applauded, and Lebohang saw it, the spark, the hope, the understanding that they were part of something bigger than themselves. They were part of a chain of belief that started in 1986 and would continue forever. A chain that stretched from a library in Pretoria to MIT to Mars to places not yet imagined. That was the legacy. That was the promise. That was the love that never ends. SpaceX headquarters, California, present day. Elon sat at his desk. He was 63 years old now, still working, still building, still keeping promises. On his desk sat 3 objects, the same 3 objects that had been there for decades. Lilian's photograph, her leather notebook, and now a new addition, a small vial of Martian soil, brought back by Dr. Tandu N.D. Lovu on the return mission from Mars. The label on the vial read, "For Lilian, you made this possible." Elon picked up the vial, held it to the light. Red soil from another planet, proof that humanity had taken its first steps toward becoming a multi-planet species. "We did it, Lily," he said softly. "We actually did it. Humans on Mars. Your family member was one of them. Your legacy reached another planet. Your 600 rands crossed 140 million miles of space." He set down the vial, picked up her notebook, turned to the last page where he had written so many entries over the years. He added one more. March 2034. "Lily, I'm 63 now, not young anymore, but still working, still building, still keeping promises. The Lilly Foundation has now saved 47,000 children's lives. 47,000, each one a Tandy who got to live, each one a future we preserved. The Learning Centers now number 35. Over 35,000 students learning every year. Thousands of them have graduated. They're becoming doctors, engineers, teachers, scientists. They're believing in others. The chain multiplies. The scholarship program has sent 15,000 students to university. 15,000 Lilians creating their own legacies. And we went to Mars, humans, on another planet, living there, building there, thriving there. Your dream, my dream, our dream came true. But here's what matters most. The belief keeps multiplying. Every person who heard your story has believed in someone else. Every student in a Lilian Ndilavu Center believes they can change the world. Every scholarship recipient promises to pass it forward. You invested 600 rands in one boy. That investment is now worth trillions, not in money but in lives touched, futures changed, dreams believed, promises kept. One woman, one belief, one sacrifice changed everything. I'm old now, Lily, I won't live forever, but your legacy will. The learning centers will keep teaching. The foundation will keep saving lives. The scholarships will keep creating opportunities. And every person touched by your story will pass it forward. That's immortality. That's how we live forever. Not through our bodies, through our impact, through the love we multiply, through the beliefs we plant in others. You planted a belief in me. I planted it in thousands. They'll plant it in millions. It will never stop, never end, never die. That's the most beautiful love story, not just what you did for me, but what your love for me became. An endless chain, an eternal multiplication. A legacy that will outlive stars. Thank you, Lily, for everything, for always, forever. I kept my promise, and I'll keep it until my last breath. And even after that, it will keep being kept by others, by Namvula, by Lebohang, by Tandu, by 47,000 children who are alive, by 35,000 students who are learning, by 15,000 graduates who are building, by everyone who understands that belief is the greatest gift we can give another person. Your promise is kept, forever and ever, amen. All my love, Elon. He closed the notebook, set it back on the desk next to Lilian's photograph. Her kind eyes looked back at him, still believing, still encouraging, still saying, you can change the world. And they had, together, across time, across death, across impossible odds, one teacher and one student, one believer and one believer, one sacrifice and one promise, changed the world. That was the story. That was the legacy. That was the most beautiful love story you will see today. The love that started with 600 rands in 1987. The love that reached Mars in 2029. The love that will reach stars not yet named, in years not yet counted, touching lives not yet born. The love that multiplies forever. The love between Lilian Ndilavu and Elon Musk. The love that changed everything. The love that never ever ends. So now you know the truth. The most beautiful love story isn't about romance. It's about belief. It's about sacrifice. It's about one person seeing potential in another and giving everything to help them shine. Lilian Ndilavu changed the world by believing in one lonely boy, and that belief is still multiplying today. 47,000 children saved, 35 learning centers, 15,000 scholarships, millions of lives touched, all because one teacher invested 600 rands in her belief in a 12-year-old boy named Elon. Here's my question for you. Where are you watching this from? Drop your country or city in the comments below. I want to see how far Lilian's story has traveled around the world. And if this story touched your heart, hit that like button right now. Help us spread this message of kindness and belief to more people, because someone watching this video might be the next Lilian or the next Elon. They just need to hear this story to understand their power. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss stories like this. Stories that remind us what really matters. Stories that inspire us to be better, to believe in others, to change lives. And don't go anywhere yet. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now, because the journey of inspiration doesn't stop here. Remember, you don't need billions of dollars to change the world. You just need to believe in one person, really believe. Who will you believe in today? Thank you for watching. Now go be someone's Lilian.